Antifa. Several specific Antifa cells have been deemed foreign terrorists. They're largely based out of Europe. This is the State Department under Donald Trump making these first moves. Now, there's not going to be a blanket all Antifa everywhere are foreign terrorists, but this is the move we've been waiting for. Designating Antifa cells as foreign terrorists now means anybody supplying them, anybody in communication with them are subject to seizure of property, FISA warrants, and this is where Trump is really ramping up the war against far-left terror. So it's going to be interesting to see how exactly that plays out. We're not entirely sure, but a big move nonetheless. And of course, this news actually broke last night, and it didn't get a lot of attention because everybody's too busy talking about Megyn Kelly, Ben Shapiro, and Candace Owens, because now the big story in the morning, which is trending, I kid you not, I turn on the news, I open up Twitter, X, sorry, Elon, and what do I see trending? Babylon Bee made a joke about Megyn Kelly throwing away her pager, implying that Israel might kill her, or she thinks they would. And I'm like, oh, here we go. This is the story. And then sure enough, only a little bit after that, I see buried deep on the pages of the internet, Mr. Andy No saying, several Antifa cells have been deemed foreign terrorist organizations. So I'm like, wow, this is what people actually care about. It's the big trending story. Yes, Megyn Kelly is outraged, and she's getting accused of hypocrisy by the left over what happened with Ryan Gerdusky on CNN when he made a beeper joke at Mehdi Hasan, and Mehdi Hasan is now going after Megyn Kelly. And, in the meantime, I'm sitting here being like, yo, we've got a visa crisis, we got a birth rate crisis. And is this what really everybody wants to do? Yeah, okay, I guess. So we'll talk about that and a lot more. Before we do, we got a great sponsor for you guys. It is PDS Debt. Debt from credit cards isn't an accident. It's a system built to keep Americans down. The banks profit, the creditors win, and families lose. Every call, every fee, every high interest trap is another reminder the game is rigged. But there's another side of the story. PDS Debt has already helped hundreds of thousands fight back, cutting debt, ending the calls, and putting money back where it belongs, in Americans' pockets, not the banks. Whether you're struggling with credit cards, personal loans, or medical bills, PDS Debt has custom options to help you get out of debt. They go beyond the numbers to understand your unique financial situation and craft a personalized plan designed just for you. There's no minimum credit score required. They're here to help you save more, pay off your debt faster, and start putting money back where it belongs, in your pocket. PDS Debt is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, boasts thousands of 5-star reviews on Google, and holds a 5-star rating on Trustpilot. Why? Because PDS has helped hundreds of thousands of people get out of debt. It's your money. It's your future. Don't let the system decide for you. You're 30 seconds away from being debt-free. Get your free assessment and find the best option for you right now at pds.com/Tim. That is pds.com/Tim. Check it out. We got one more great sponsor for you guys. It is Cove Pure. That's right. You guys have heard me talk about Cove Pure before, and for good reason. It's because I believe clean drinking water is one of the best investments you can make in your family's health. That's why we have the reverse osmosis filters here and reusable glass bottles. We want to give people the option for clean drinking water. Here's something you might not realize. When people are taking meds, their bodies don't absorb all of it. Much of that stuff gets flushed down the toilet, and water treatment plants are horrible at filtering out those leftover pharmaceuticals, things like antibiotics, antidepressants, and even hormone disruptors from birth control pills. No wonder people are getting messed up. And this is true. Don't you remember what Alex Jones said about the frogs? You know, I'm just saying. Luckily, Cove Pure is lab certified to remove up to 99.9% of impurities. That includes fluoride, PFAs, agricultural runoff, and of course, pharmaceutical drugs. The first thing you're going to notice with Cove Pure is the taste. It sounds crazy, but I can absolutely taste the difference. It's completely ruined the taste of every other water for me. And Cove Pure makes it so easy. Sits on your countertop, no plumbers, no drilling. You just fill it up, plug it in. You can even select whatever temperature you want, hot, cold, warm, with the tap of a button. You wouldn't take a stranger's drug prescription, so why accept their leftovers in your water? Really, that's disgusting, man. Protect yourself with the link below. Go to covepure.com/Tim for a limited time. You'll get $200 off. That's COVEPURE.com/Tim. And really, I got to tell you, the fluoride is what freaks me out because they've already proven that higher fluoride concentrations depresses intelligence. If you want to be dumb, then I guess drink your tap water. And if you want to be cognizant of what is going on in the world, you can watch Timcast and drink clean drinking water. Don't forget, my friends, to smash that like button. Share the show with everyone you know. Joining us tonight to talk about this and so much more, we actually have a couple of guests. Sir, why don't you introduce yourself first?
Yes, my name is DeVory Darkins. Thank you for having me here, Tim. So good to see you. Love the skate park, by the way. Love it.
Thank you.
Yeah, you guys can find me at DeVory Darkins on Twitter, YouTube, Rumble, all that good stuff. Common Sense Commentary.
Right on. And sir?
I'm Gerard Michaels. Good to be here. Thanks for having me. You can check me out at Gerard vs. Evil. I'm primarily on Instagram and YouTube, but I think I'm on my 5th X account, so maybe we can rebuild this one, and maybe this one will stick.
Oh, there you go.
Hey everybody, Ian Crossan in the house. I am a actor, musician, and also a nanotechnology enthusiast. Happy to be here.
No, it says graphene enthusiast on the
Oops,
screen.
I didn't want to be redundant, but I do like other forms of nanotechnology as well, like graphite synthesis. Synthetic graphite's awesome.
You go to Texas. Before you go to Texas, you're talking about graphene. You come back, all you're talking about is graphite.
Chlorinated gas, recycling rare earth elements. They figured out how to recycle the cobalt now.
May not have noticed, but he did. He moved from graphene to graphite. Watch this guy. You can't trust him. Hey, everybody. My name's Phil Labonte. I'm the lead singer of the heavy metal band All That Remains. I'm an anti-communist and a counter-revolutionary. Let's get into it.
Here's the big news from the New York Post. Antifa groups designated foreign terror organizations for first time. This is massive. The Trump administration formally designated 4 violent left-wing groups based in Europe as foreign terrorist organizations as part of a broad crackdown on extremism. The State Department announced the intended designation on Thursday, saying the Antifa groups, Antifa Ost, International Revolutionary Front, Armed Proletariat Justice, and Revolutionary Class Self-Defense, use force against those they identify as opponents of their Marxist and anarchist projects. The thugs from Germany, Italy, and Greece have carried out dozens of attacks in Europe over recent years, including assaults, bombings of government buildings, and shootings. Holy smokes. State Department is committed to identifying and dismantling these terror networks that conspire to ruthlessly suppress the will of the people and violently undermine the very foundations of the United States and Western civilization. The designation will also bar the radicals from accessing the U.S. financial system and prosecute those that support them. Antifa Ost is based in Germany. They go on to describe many of these groups, but it's Germany, it's Italy, it's Greece. And the reason why this play is so big, it's not about these specific groups in Europe. It's that American Antifa organize with these people.
Yep.
And that means they're going to start going into the finances and communications, get FISA warrants for these groups, and it's going to expose individuals in the United States, link them to these foreign terrorist groups, and it's going to then be a cascade against many of these far-left extremists. I think that's the play. I don't know why they would be doing it so slowly. Maybe they have to announce this because if they want to get these warrants, FISA warrants or otherwise, it has to have this public declaration from the State Department. I wonder if they could do it quietly. But what say all of you? Good, bad, otherwise?
Honestly, I'm for the. I'm kind of. If I had to pick one, I would say I'm for. I just don't know the legal precedent of just saying now this group is not terrorism.
This is exactly what I voted for. Right. These people are terrorists. Their intent is terrorism. If you, Tim, if you want, I put a video that Andy No posted in the Slack, and this is emblematic of what they do, right? And this is Europe in particular. This one in particular is Europe, and they're just come up behind this guy with hammers and smash him in the head and start beating the ever-losing.
Can we? I don't know if we can show this.
It's brutal. Yeah, maybe not. But look,
I'll play it until he strikes. So this is, they're called a hammer band, and they hammer attack people. Here's the video.
Oh, 20 years in prison.
Yeah, and
took to the guy's head.
You don't see it in this, but there's probably like 10 of them, maybe 15 of them, maybe 10 of them that come after him. They beat him to the ground, and then they mace him when they leave.
Well, that's conspiracy then if there's multiple.
Well,
so
I mean,
40 years in prison.
But the point is, these people are terrorists, and you can't treat them like with kid gloves. Now, granted, in the U.S., you don't get that kind of stuff, largely because we're an armed population. But in Europe, they're not. And the way that these Antifa terrorists are acting in Europe, like Tim said, they work with people in the U.S. They communicate with people in the U.S. There are people like Tim has mentioned before that they call tourists that go from one protest to another protest. These people need to be treated like the terrorists they are. They need to be locked up for as long as we possibly can, because the point of Antifa, unquestionably, is to degrade the social fabric of the U.S. They want to see the United States fall apart. They're literal anarchist communists.
So I actually think this muddies the waters. Rudy Giuliani told us when I was doing Mafia States of America with Valuetainment back in the day, we interviewed him, and he made the argument 4 years ago that this was a cut and dry RICO case, that this was organized, this was financed, and if you throw one Antifa thug, like you're saying, in prison for disorderly conduct or, taking the pallets of bricks that magically appeared everywhere and throwing it through a window, okay, they're out in a month and they're probably getting paid to go to another protest. But if you take that disorderly conduct and you use it as precedent to run it up the line for who paid for them to be there, who got their plane ticket, who bought their food, dude, and you get all the way up to the top of the organizer, that's how they broke the mob. I grew up in New York and New Jersey, and Rudy Giuliani used RICO to break the mob. And there's no reason that they shouldn't have been doing this for years here with Antifa, with Black Lives Matter, with these I'd go after Justice Democrats. I think Saikat Chakrabarti is the most dangerous man in the world.
DSA.
So that being said,
we're going to find all those connections. That's what's going to be really interesting. It's not just about Antifa. What happens when a foreign terrorist organization, they find communications between DSA members? Because this is the overlap. These people who are likely involved in democratic socialists are going out as Antifa later, and they're organizing internationally. I'd be willing to bet it's going to turn out the people they end up arresting or investigating in the United States are going to be Democrats. DSA Democrats, young people.
The aspect of it that I'm a little concerned with is the randos that are like, yeah, I hate fascism. I'll go march one day.
Those people are not going to have communications with Antifa Europe. Yeah. It's going to be the organizers that they're going after.
To your point, I was just at the No Kings protest in doing our little comedy thing, and 99%, it's a social event for these folks. They're just showing up there, having a good time, yay for our side. But then there's very clear organizers that are directing people, that are handing things out, that are well funded. And that's what this comes down to. You have to, the only way you're going to defeat this and be a counter-revolutionary is you got to get rid of their funding, their financing. As soon as the money spigot turns off, this professional protester class goes away. This is their job.
And Ian, to your point, right, the people that oftentimes engage in the low-level street violence are people that don't have significant connections or whatever. They're the people that they're the people that are there because they're there for the violence, or they're there for the party, or they're there for whatever. And the reason they engage in these activities is because they don't have anything to lose. The organizers will go and they will incite stuff, right? The people that actually have connections with the upper echelons or whatever, however you want to frame it. But the people that are actually on the street throwing bricks, the people that are actually on the street lighting fires, they're people that don't have a whole lot going on in their life. That's part of why they actually will do this stuff, is they don't have a lot to lose. If you've got kids and a family or a job or some kind of public something recognizable by the public, you don't want to do this kind of stuff. You don't want to go and throw bricks through windows because you have something to lose.
At the No Kings, it was shocking how much of like a social event this was.
Yeah.
Like, this is their friends. They're there we're part, hey, good to see you again. This was their tailgate.
People don't remember this a lot, but that was a lot of the riots that were going on during Black Lives Matter. The people that were getting together at night were different people than were at the protests during the day. Because during the day, you have the people that are protesting peacefully. At night, you have basically the people that have little to lose.
The action front.
You have like the people that went after Rittenhouse in Kenosha. They were people like, Rosenbaum didn't have some kind of deep ideological bent. He was there looking to get into fights with people because he didn't have crap going on in his life.
Did you guys see that youth unemployment right now is around 10%?
That's insane.
Record high. Record high. Yeah, I just want to say that we need to treat the root causes, and I think this move is signaling that, instead of treating symptoms, which is going after people who have no money, no status, and they're just there as pawns.
Yeah,
I think that's a great move on that.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a great point. You pick those people up if you catch them doing something wrong. But I think your point about the RICO using this RICO case is exactly right.
DeVory and I were talking about this before. Part of it is messaging too, right? Like you just said, 10% youth unemployment. So
9.4, I think.
So what is the message to conserve? Like what are you telling a 24-year-old in New York that you should conserve?
Indian laborers and Chinese students.
So there you go, right? And I, look, if it were up to me, we wouldn't be paying for any of this stuff. But it's a very hard sell to have people who grew up watching for 20 years of their life, trillions of dollars be spent on killing people in the Middle East, to then say, oh, look, we don't have any money for healthcare. That's a tough sell. It's a tough sell when you're seeing all of this money go overseas, Ukraine, Israel, wherever, and say, yeah, hey, sorry your kid has cancer, but, them's be the breaks. That's a tough message. That's a tough thing. When sorry, you went to college and that job doesn't exist anymore, and you'll never own a house. But don't vote for change. Tough message.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
so
Tim, you've been saying something recently, which is we need to understand the enemy. So this whole Antifa thing needs to get snuffed out immediately, and needs to be met with brute force. Because if not, and his presidency will end. 3 years from now, what's going to happen then?
We got the midterms in a year, man.
Like, if they don't address it now, what will happen then?
Well, there's going to be more assassinations. I think the big challenge we have is the right has just shattered since Charlie Kirk's killing. Yeah. It's just completely shattered.
It's like a problem and an opportunity because there's not a lot of leadership. So
Opportunity for the left.
Even
or an opportunity for someone on the right to step up.
Even with Charlie Kirk, did you ever think the right had the will to see something like this through to the end?
What do you mean? Like,
okay, let's say that this okay, they're gonna move to now take this to indictments. They're gonna move to now take this to RICO. Are they gonna have the will to actually see it through to the end?
No. I think what's happening right now, the only pollsters that matter, you've got Rasmussen and you've got Rich Barris, are talking about how Gen Z is basically they're done.
They're done. Yeah.
Trump has abandoned them. Mm-hmm. Trump's basically saying, I surrender with this H-1B stuff. So they're going to look at this and they're going to be like, okay, there's nothing for us on the right now. Trump's not, he's off message. And again, this is all following the death of Charlie Kirk. The right is off balance, and the presumption is they're not going to do anything. You've got a guy threw a sandwich at a Fed, which at the bare minimum is a conviction on a slap on the wrist of some sort. Nah, free to go. So even if they do charge these people and bring them before courts, liberals are going to be like, nah, they're good. And they're gonna acquit them even if it does happen. These mortgage fraud cases, is that the best they can do? Mm-hmm. Really? Okay, whatever, I guess. When Trump came out and said there's no talent in this country, he really, really damaged the coalition. But I got to be honest, as we're mentioning earlier, this news on Antifa broke yesterday, but all of the feed was dominated by talk of Candace, Ben Shapiro, Megyn Kelly. And Israel is more important because these people who are just absolutely retarded online have, I'll put it like this. I think the Israel conversation is the perfect opportunity to dismantle and destroy the right coalition because it's an issue that regular Americans don't know or care about. You talk to your average person on the street, they're going to be like, yeah, I guess I like Israel, whatever. Some are going to be like, no, I don't care for them or what they do. But if you go to them and ask them, what's the most important thing to you right now? Gen Z is going to say, I have no money. They're going to say, I'm buying food on credit card debt. I can't get an apartment. I can't find a job. I can't buy a car. And what do you find when you go online to the top personalities and pundits? True crime drama nonsense. And Trump is doing interviews where he's like, you don't matter. We give up. So it's just very, very demoralizing. I think the expectation is going to be all of these are all grains of sand, or they're all snowflakes in the avalanche. We said maybe when it gets colder out, there's going to be bigger moves against Antifa. Okay, this is a start. There's going to be bigger moves on immigration. Maybe we'll see. But come on, 500,000 deportations out of 11 million on the low end? You're never going to get it done. So it all seems like we're in an avalanche, and Trump's not even promising to climb back up. He's saying, let's just ride it down.
Well, he's been America first. He got elected for America first, and whether it's true or not, the optics are he has not been an American first president for the first year here. He's been focused on international things that, to your point, if I'm a 22-year-old and I can't pay my bills, what the hell do I care about Ukraine, Israel, Palestine?
Yep.
I don't care. Mm-hmm. I could help you, Trump, and I know you listen to this, and maybe with your massive audience you can help get this out. But he should, and I know we said this earlier, he should go all in on student loan forgiveness and say it's not going to come out of any taxpayers. It is a consumer protection issue. And just like lemon laws, when a corporation, when Chevy sells you a bad car, you can bring it back and get your money back. They should be able to take their degrees, return the degree, and have the colleges be liable for that. Go after the endowments that are the war chest for this far left-wing extremism. Harvard University's $55 billion endowment is the war chest. It's the epicenter for this entire woke mind virus that has infected the West. And you could do three things. One, you could show the youth that you're fighting for them. You could break the shackles of indentured servitude that we've had on 3 generations now. And 3, you could force the Democrats to have to defend student loans, right?
Or we can talk about Megyn Kelly with this story from theindependent.co.uk. Right-wingers accuse Babylon Bee of inciting murder against Megyn Kelly with deleted pager bomb joke. Quote, this is a fun way for the Babylon Bee to call for murder, one conservative podcaster reacted to the since-deleted post. I just want to take a moment to say, We were just discussing how Antifa has been designated a foreign terrorist organization, certain Antifa cells. It's important. We're talking about what we can do to inspire young people who are currently feeling dejected. And I just want to add, we will cover this story, but I want to make sure everyone realizes I think you're all retarded. And I'll explain why. So basically the story is this. The Babylon Bee posted this. Megyn Kelly gets rid of old pager just to be safe. She then, Megyn Kelly then quoted the Babylon Bee saying, WTF Seth Dillon. And Mehdi Hassan chimes in by saying, when a far-right pundit on CNN with me joked about my beeper going off and then got banned by CNN, Megyn Kelly had him on her show, and they both laughed about it. Yet here is Megyn Kelly getting super offended when someone else makes the beeper threat against her. Oh, the hypocrisy. I'm going to say it again. You're all retards, okay? It's not a threat. It's a joke, and I get it. I think the joke is funny because it implies Israel kills people, and that wasn't Babylon Bee's intention. I think Babylon Bee deleted it because it's more offensive to Israel to imply they would murder an American pundit for criticizing them. But my point is, it's all just tribal hypocrisy, garbled nonsense. Mehdi Hassan's got another tweet. He says, a reminder of how funny Megyn Kelly thought the beeper comment was when it was someone else, a brown Muslim, me on the end of it, not her. Here's the clip.
Mehdi Hassan leaned so far into playing the victim. He reminded me of those World Cup soccer players and their drama, pretending that they're hurt so that they can get a red card or whatever on somebody else. It was over the top. He deserves an Academy Award for did you just say you want me dead? You just said you want me to be killed? What is it's obviously the beeper thing is a reference to what Israel did to Hamas supporters and members of Hamas, where they blew up their beepers and in some cases blew up the men holding the beepers. And you were saying, if you support the Palestinians, you later said you thought he said Hamas, maybe he has a beeper. That's the comment. But how do we get from that to, I hope you die?
And notice he didn't say, are you saying I'm a terrorist? His implication is, therefore, I am a terrorist.
Well, they're not laughing in the clip, so, crummy post from Mehdi. But I just want to stress, Megyn Kelly, I think, is, I don't know, disappointed. I feel like she's taken a very professional media stance on a lot of things recently. I'll just come out and say it. When Ben Shapiro brought up Candace Owens and called her evil, Megyn Kelly's, well, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't call it evil. I don't watch that stuff. Was like the wishy-washiest of responses. And then Megyn Kelly put out another video saying, I watched what Candace said, and she did not accuse Erica Kirk of being involved in the killing of Charlie. It just reeks to me of faux outrage. There's no moral baseline here as to what you're really mad about. Maybe she's saying WTF Seth Dillon because Seth Dillon's making fun of her, but why are you mad if someone's making fun of you? The Babylon Bees made fun of Candace Tucker, Nick, and tons of other people. Why should she get special treatment? And I would just say in response to the Ben Shapiro thing, if Ben said something about Candace and you didn't agree, or you didn't know, like if it was to me, my response, I'd be like, what did he say? Or like, what did Candace say? That's a bold accusation. Mm-hmm. Yeah, instead Megan's like, well, I don't know about that. And it's just, yeah, we get it, Megyn. You want to be in Candace's camp. She has a really big audience, and you hope that she props you up, and you're on her side because you're scared of her audience. Whatever. The most demoralizing thing I've seen in the past couple of weeks is the obsession over this kind of nonsense. And this is what we're getting from some of the biggest podcasts in the space. Ben Shapiro, Megyn Kelly, and Candace Owens having a drama battle while I'm sitting here being like, why are eggs, expensive? Yeah. Why is milk expensive?
The fact that we've got real substantial problems in the U.S., the inflation that hit a couple years ago, like that hasn't worked its way through the economy. Wages have not caught up. People are still suffering. Like you said, there's the crisis of young people getting out of college with massive amounts of student debt. There's income. There's the idea that income inequality is a massive problem in the U.S. You've got young people that are becoming more and more extreme in their political views, whether it be to the right or to the left. You have Mamdani was just elected in New York. You have the I forget what her name. I think Karen. I forget
Katie Wilson.
Katie Wilson, the socialist that was elected in Seattle as mayor. These problems are real, tangible problems that are real things that are going to have a massive effect on the United States in the coming 5 to 10 years. This bickering and arguing about garbage who knew what about Charlie Kirk when legitimately all the actual evidence is that the official story is probably the most likely. There's a lot of people that are looking to just farm as many clicks and as much attention as they can off of the death of Charlie Kirk, and it's disgusting. This is all just garbage.
I don't care about Candace's show in the sense of like what her subject matter is. What's demoralizing is that people would rather watch vague conspiracy over Charlie Kirk being murdered by his friends as opposed to Trump talking about visas and the border and the economy. I'm having conversations behind the scenes with media personalities who are talking about CPMs being really low right now. Why are ad rates low when they're supposed to be high? What's happening? And the reason why this is important is that I've mentioned this quite a bit when we're facing economic uncertainty. YouTube CPMs, the money you get on YouTube is derived from granular sources, whereas television is going to sell an ad slot to a big company like Pepsi. Fox might do that, or they're going to do regional ads somewhat if they're doing digital. With YouTube CPMs, if I make a video and I get $1,000 from that video, that's $10 of that came from a diner in the outskirts of Omaha, and they bought 25,000 ads so that people in their area watching YouTube will get an ad for their diner. So if you live in the outskirts of Omaha and you watch Timcast IRL, an ad will pop up and it'll be like, old Johnny Bill's Diner just outside of Omaha. They only buy $25 in ads. I get less than half of that. Or actually, I think, YouTube takes, you'd have to put like $16 or something. When your ad rates are going down in November, it's signaling a major economic problem is about to occur. Because this is, it's not me doing one direct sale. I can go to one company and say, give me $100,000, I'll do an ad read for you, or 4 ad reads or whatever. And they'll say yes. And then I go, hey, look at that. We sold a big ad read. But when YouTube CPMs go down and viewership is low in November, something in the economy is happening. So there's two things we're seeing that has people in the media space concerned. And it's that viewership for many prominent conservative personalities and political personalities in general, I'm just talking to the conservative ones, are low for November. They're supposed to be way higher now as people are staying indoors from the cold. They're not. For us, we've been relatively static. So that would indicate that you're seeing growth and collapse at the same time. So growth in spite of the downturn. When CPMs go down relative to views and views are down, it's indicating one, people are disinterested in the political landscape right now, which is largely in the Gen Z space, which is apocalyptic for Trump in the midterms, because Gen Z is about to turn 30 as we're entering the midterms. They're going to be 28, 29 years old. So this has become a principal demographic for victory for Republicans. And the CPMs going down indicate small businesses are struggling to make money and they're cutting their marketing budgets. We saw this during COVID. And then it's, yeah, but did you hear that, like, there was a bush and the bush, like, it might be a guy? And I'm like, what does the bush have to do with anything? Well, Charlie got shot in the back. And I'm like, okay, but the bush, there's a bush in front of him and there was a guy in there and it looks like a guy in camo. And I'm like, so the bullet from the front of Charlie wrapped around his neck? What the are you talking about?
So you think it's desperation engagement harvesting? That's what's going on?
Well, I certainly think there's a handful of things. I think if you are right now a political commentator, you better start segueing out of politics because Trump is losing this incoming generation. And so I certainly think it's some of that. I'm not blaming Candace for doing, female drama podcasts. That's what she's always done. Mm-hmm. From Blake Lively to Bridget McCrone to now the murder mystery of Charlie Kirk. Her whole thing has always been female-oriented drama content. And that's why she got the Stanley mug right there. That's like women waited in line for 8 hours at Starbucks to get one of those mugs. It's very much a women's show. What we're seeing from it is people care more about that than they do about what's happening politically, because many people on the younger side who we need, it's like this. Older people are dying. Younger people are aging into the political space. We need them to care. They don't care. So general interest in politics across the board is way lower than it should be for this time of year. And the polling data shows us it's because Trump is not getting the job done for young people.
I think a lot of people get their information from X. I just read this. As of the end of October, your X feed algorithm is now being set by Grok. You can go to Grok and direct message it and tell it to change your feed. Always prioritize
that's the
photography.
For You feed.
This is saying Grok algorithm. You personalize your feed. You can use direct conversational prompts with Grok. Simply message Grok with specific requests. You can say for 48 hours, change my algorithm.
So
say,
there's two feeds, For You and Following. I never use For You. For You is algorithmically generated posts they send to you, and Following is reverse chronological posts from the people you follow.
Maybe you can use For You and set it to be like, stop showing me drama content, show me more technical.
No,
things
because
about
then it
Antifa.
shows you out of date things. It's been really bad. I avoided it all.
Okay, it might be it's probably the future of algorithms is you tell the AI what kind of stuff you want to see and it'll show you more of that. But then the default, which
you don't
seems
know
to be
what it's
drama
omitting
content.
from you.
What's that?
You don't know what it's hiding from you.
Yeah.
Always, yeah.
But it's also go ahead.
No.
It's also a clarion call to the content creators, like you're saying, like, don't give your enemies a club to beat you with, man. Like, like it's desperation and it stinks. How we won and how we kind of fought this counter revolution was through memes. We won through love. We won through comedy, man. And you're looking at something like that. That's an easy one. Instead of being like, what the heck, Seth Dillon's like, hey,
I know.
I wish Mehdi Hassan cared more about Hassan Piker's dog collar than his beeper. Like it's easy.
Or maybe
like,
the fact that Hassan is literally in China, glazing China right now.
Yeah.
So
Lost our sense of humor.
when we do the Culture War show, the live events we've done have gotten like 800,000 views. It's been fantastic. The clips have been massive. When I did the debate with Brian Shapiro, that one's got hundreds of thousands, and the clips have 300, 400. It's massive. That political debate does really well. When we did the show, so typically, the Friday morning shows will get 100,000 to 200,000. Not the biggest show ever, once a week, and we have a conversation. When we had a conversation on the assassination of Charlie Kirk, it's got like 500,000 on YouTube alone and like another 300. It's like 800K. The narrative is very obvious to everybody that even now, it's more interesting to talk about the mystery of Charlie Kirk's murder than public policy. I'm stressing this. I'm not going to go. I think it's silly they attacked Tucker for interviewing Nick Fuentes because Tucker is his own person. He can talk about whatever he wants. Candace Owens does this kind of women's-oriented drama show, and she's allowed to do that, and her show's big. What's demoralizing is that people care more about all of that right now at a time when we desperately need to be rallying people as we're entering a midterm year, and Trump is off message.
I think
Antifa literally shows up and attacks Turning Point USA attendees.
I think they just care about what they see. They're getting fed this garbage. I just told Grok, change my algorithm to show me less drama content and more science. Have you done it yet?
The point I'm making is YouTube, not Grok. I'm talking about people going on YouTube and people in the news, and what should be the how do we save America message is let's talk about, conspiracy.
Yeah.
Is it possible that this is inorganic? Is it possible that the way that the far right that you're talking about gets propped up is through left-wing financing?
I'll also add Israel stuff too. The answer is yes, but if you operate under the assumption that everyone's out to get you all the time, you're going to miss what people are actually talking about. More importantly, even if it is propped up, if this is what's being fed to people, as Ian's point, then that's the world they're going to live in. Now, I'll tell you, the most frustrating thing is there's I don't want to name shame anybody, but there are people who are political personalities, small, not big, regional, and all they're doing is talking about Israel now. And I'm like, you're a retard. I'm sorry, like you are retarded. Listen, criticizing Israel, fine. Saying that Israel is the preeminent foreign policy issue for the United States, totally agree. Scott Horton comes on the show and says, listen, Israel and our work and our alliance with them and our funding of them is why we're deeply involved in these Middle Eastern wars we should not be involved in. I say, fair point, 100%. But when you now are attacking Trump on the issue of Israel and you've abandoned your core issue that brought you to prominence in the first place, you've gone retarded. And I'm telling you, I go to the grocery store or I'm hanging out with some younger guys at the casino or at the skate park or whatever. They're not sitting here being like, hey, man, what's up with Israel? They're going, I have no house. And I'm like, well, rest assured, if you go on the internet, you'll find all the prominent personalities will fight against Israel on your behalf. And they're going to go, what? And that's what we are getting. It's Israel, it's Charlie Kirk. And I'm like, man, the coalition is fried.
Yeah, both sides are making a huge mistake. The pro-Israel, some of them are going way too far. It's Israel this, why we should love Israel, why we must protect Israel, etc. and they go too far and they forget about those issues that you were just discussing. And then on the opposite side, you have anti-Israel. Everything is Israel's fault. And the problem with all of that is you're forgetting about Gen Z. Like, we're just talking about it upstairs. Mandatory trade school in every single university. Is that hard? Is that too much to ask for?
No, I think that would have been cool to have to take a couple of electives that were trade electives. That would have been awesome. Get your hands on like arc welders and stuff.
Right.
I'm going to pull up this story. We've got this from Fortune. Is Gen Z the financial anxiety generation? And on top of this, as we get into the Gen Z focus of this, from kellydry.com, October layoffs hit 22-year high. Legal considerations for employees. So it's just a blog. But take a look at this. We're looking at, what is it? Verizon, I think, just had mass layoffs. Amazon had mass layoffs. Gen Z has been labeled many things. Digital natives, blah, blah, blah. But financial anxiety, they do exhibit. Recent data from Afterpay reveals that more than half of Gen Z consumers report getting the ick from credit cards, with 63% switching to alternative payment methods as a result. Additionally, for the first time in nearly 4 years, U.S. debit card spending has outpaced credit card growth. Gen Z didn't grow up with the luxury of financial naivety, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. The point is, they say Gen Z's approach to money has created an entirely new category of financial products. The philosophy behind what I think is conscious spending, et cetera, et cetera. We get the point. The general idea, however, is that Gen Z is not able to make enough money to get apartments. Right. They're competing with illegal immigrants and quote-unquote refugees who get free spaces. They're buying food on credit cards because they don't make enough to simultaneously have an apartment and have credit cards. And it's happening at greater and greater rates, which is going to result in Gen Z dissociating or going communist. So I think what we're seeing now is Gen Z leftists are basically saying there is no light at the end of the tunnel. The society that you have built has left me destitute, so I will vote for Zoran Mamdani and AOC to take it from you, and I don't care if the system burns down. Yep. One thing I think everybody needs to understand, let me tell you my perspective in 2008 when I was in my early 20s. The news is breaking. The economy is collapsing. People are getting laid off. And you know what I said? I laughed. You want to know why I laughed? Because I said, here's the floor, right? I want everyone to understand. Here's the floor. Here's me. Here's you. The economy collapses. I don't move an inch. I was already in bad shape. Things were already bad for me. So I'm not gonna be, oh no, woe is me, the market's collapsing. I don't see it. I was already sleeping on couches and barely making enough money as it is. So now when you have these young Gen Z leftists, you can go to them and say, if you vote for Zoran Mamdani or AOC, you will burn down the economy. They'll go, and? I am not serviced by this economy. I don't care if it's destroyed. Yeah, but it'll go Mad Max. Don't care. I'll get what I can and get out. What do you get on the right? The right just simply says Trump's abandoned us, and they go Zoomerwaffen. They say, we got to form our own communities. We got to restructure government. We need more authoritarian controls. I'm not calling them Nazis and saying they're authoritarians. I'm saying
like nationalists.
They want more authoritarian controls. They want more restrictions on cultural and social issues to restore a vision of what America used to be. That's the traditional conservative nationalist approach. Both sides are going to say, the Make America Great Again is not the path for me. And then what's going to happen? The left is going to win, extract as much as they can, break and burn the system, and then those of us of moderate means, me, of course, obviously above that. I'm not trying to act like I'm not. But the people who have worked hard and found success are going to be stripped of that value and destroyed by an underclass that has upset the system, has abandoned them.
You know, the ping-ponging of Democrats get elected, then Republicans, then this guy failed me, now this guy failed me is like, there's definitely outside forces manipulating that thing. So your hero gets in and then you realize he's not the hero you wanted. And then you look the other direction, you vote for them, then you realize they're not the hero you thought they were. And then, but like at the top is like the Federal Reservists, the bankers, like bankrupting everybody and making billions of dollars.
The liberal economic order's cooked.
I hope.
And that's why Hassan's in China.
What's that?
And that's why Hassan is in China.
China and the World Economic Forum, they seem to be competing with the liberal economic order that's rupturing.
No, Davos is the liberal economic order.
And then there's the Chinese, the BRICS, the communist technocracy.
BRICS, right.
Where they'll just delete your bank account if you jaywalk or if you say the wrong words, if you violate the order.
That's what Zoomerwaffen's going to want.
I've been thinking like that, too.
That's what they're going to want. The younger Gen Z guys are going to say, we shouldn't let leftists burn everything down, and we shouldn't let these people steal from us. We need harder controls. And they're going... So the issue is...
The Spanish Civil War.
It's a question not of authoritarianism. It's a question of tradition versus progressivism. So the communists rise like Spain or Germany and Italy. is fascists. They are traditionalist authoritarian. Communists, progressivist authoritarian. The communists are like, destroy history, burn the books, and then we're going to blank slate. The fascists are like, protect our history, burn the progressive books, and then we're going to control the system. Both sides basically saying the other side is the problem, and they both have a morally divergent worldview. So they look at each other as like, you are causing problems to the world that I want. The other side, you are causing problems to the world that I want. Both are in agreement that the old school system of doing things does not function. So Hassan Piker goes to China and said, how does he describe it? He's like, you've got abundant consumerism next to Soviet era
1950 Soviet style.
Communist blocks.
Yeah.
So Hassan wants to live in a country where the government will go to you and say, your ideas are bad for the machine. Deleted. That's how he wants to live. That's where we're going to go. And I am not convinced. Listen, man, I have given the benefit of the doubt to Cash, Dan, Pam, Trump, and all the people in the Trump administration the whole year. And Trump going on TV and saying more visas, more H-1Bs. I was like, that's it. That's it. I'm done.
Yeah, tone deaf. Listen, I think the solution is pretty simple. Charlie Kirk posted it plenty of times. It's been going around on Twitter so many times now. It's going viral. But I think the bottom line for the Gen Z, for people who are critical thinkers like ourselves, is to continue to voice out loud and to provide solutions to them. So like, again, trade school, mindset, financial literacy. Mindset is why. Because if they keep thinking like a victim as progressives want them to think, you're right, they won't care. Burn it all down.
You are correct. But here's the problem. Because I made this argument the other day in that video where the guy's like, I'm a student full time and I only have $17 and I work. And I'm like, opportunity exists.
Right.
And that is right. And I do think that is a smart play to make. I will add, however, the response that I see from Gen Z is, that's all well and good, Tim. I could work hard, but the communists are coming to take it from me anyway, so it's probably not a good idea to invest in that. The view now is, sure, I could go to trade school, I could work hard, and then once I finally get a house and make money, Zoran Mamdani is going to tax me, take my home, and they're going to attack me for being white. And it's like, well, I don't have a response.
Well, that is implying that Mamdani is going to rule over every city in America.
Look at the communists who just won in Seattle. Gen Z Democrats are saying we will burn your system down and take what we want because we haven't been serviced by this. And then the right's basically saying, even if I were to get a house right now, they're coming after us. Mm-hmm. And it's the point I'm making is not to give up. You're correct about the trade school and all that stuff. The point is, Trump's supposed to be the leadership saying, we're going to make sure you will be safe if you do right. If you have your house, if you have your family, you'll be protected. Instead, he's like, you won't be. I'm going to bring in Indians and Chinese to take your jobs. You're not going to get training. You're not going to get a career. It's going to go to them. And so the young people are like, okay, Trump's going to take it from me and the communists are taking it from me. So you're going to get Zoomer-Waffen.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say, I think it confirms exactly who Donald Trump really is. He's a businessman, a deal maker, not a conservative, not a Republican.
He really didn't run as a conservative. He ran as a reformist. I get it. I'm not nearly as black-pilled. I live in Florida. It's awesome. I think we're going to balkanize a little bit. And to a certain degree, I know this is, I'm going to say this tongue-in-cheek, but good. Let them have socialism. Go ahead. Go for it. It doesn't do us any good to tell you that the stove is hot. You're going to touch it, figure it out for yourself.
And they're done. That doesn't work.
You don't think so?
Chicago
is a whole different
Seattle.
beast, but I mean, look what happens in Florida. Everybody leaves. Now, we are entering the politics of pain. And I saw it in my home state of New Jersey, where Phil Murphy made it as hard as possible on his own citizens, got rid of 200,000 small business owners in the middle class. They all went to Florida because he won re-election by 38,000 votes. So making it bad is actually good for their power, and I do get that.
Agreed. And so what ends up happening now is New Jersey becomes entrenched Democrat, New York becomes entrenched Democrat, Seattle, Portland, California. You get geographic hyperpolarization.
Yeah, balkanization.
And then you're going to end up with... So someone asked me recently, why is it bad that Mamdani won in New York? Who cares? Let New York burn. And I said, New York has what, I think 11 congressional seats? And with the exodus of moderate to conservative leading people and high income earners, you are going to have in the next midterm, they're talking about a socialist primarying Hakeem Jeffries. And Hakeem Jeffries will lose because the moderates have fled because Zoran Mamdani won. This means that it's going to come to an election of Hakeem Jeffries versus communist, and communist wins. And now we're going to have more communists in the federal government. And then they're going to keep voting to bring in illegal immigrants, tear down our borders, and burn the country to the ground. That's the problem with socialists winning in these districts, and it keeps happening. Then what happens when you have red states versus blue states, and they are so geographically hyperpolarized? It's not even a question of abortion, right? Here's the example I've used. Oklahoma, abortion totally banned. Colorado, abortion up to 9 months. That's a morally divergent, extreme case where that's terrifying. What happens when every issue is like that? What happens when people are in Colorado are doing meth and heroin at the same time in the streets, and Oklahoma says we have to put up border guards on the highways going from Oklahoma to Colorado to stop the drug traffickers that are coming in because Colorado allows them to produce and distribute. Now you've got border checkpoints between states. Then Colorado votes in the federal government to legalize heroin and methamphetamine federally. They say we're going to take it off the schedule, and all the blue commies vote, and they inch out the Republicans. Or a Thomas Massey is like, I refuse, I abstain. Then you get a red state saying, no, a red line has been crossed. Or how about this? What happens if you get enough communists in Congress where they vote to legalize federally up to 9 months abortion and force red states to comply? This is where you get into the territory where the red states say it's never going to happen and we will defy the federal government. This is the problem with how things are bifurcating and why it's a problem that Donald Trump isn't being a leader to young people. You make a great point. He's a deal maker. I understand why Trump said we need H-1Bs. He's looking at the math. Economically, we don't have the young people. We don't have the skilled middle class right now to take up these managerial jobs and these manufacturing jobs. So Scott Bessent is saying temporarily we will have H-1Bs so they can do these shipbuilding and these steelworking or aluminum jobs, and then we'll start working on Gen Z. Not going to work, and it's just not reality. Well, Gen Z's not going to have kids. They're not going to take these jobs.
Yeah. It's actually a lie. It's not even these high-skilled jobs. It's low jobs. It's not. It's like store clerk or cashier. Right. It's not what people really think it is. And I think the bottom line to it is the Trump administration needs to pivot to a message that gets the attention of Gen Z, because if they fail to do that, it's not just a message, but results, which might come next spring, by the way. Because I think we're just in this period of where everything is a grind, it's monotonous, nothing's looking good. But then when January comes around, tax money comes in, cases start, these indictments actually go to court. What if some of this stuff actually swings his way? How will people feel then?
Far left will burn things down and kill people.
I think you
don't win a lot of you don't win a lot of supporters doing that, though. Their action front has actually been something that has been a net negative to them. Right. So, I mean,
agreed.
We need to also invest in the culture, right? The right just punts on culture. We don't have TV. We don't have movies. We don't have anything okay, great. So you're making money, but you don't reinvest in anything. They don't promote their worldview. Something as simple as Tommy Boy, right? Not to go too far afield here, but we don't make those movies anymore. And if you think Tommy Boy, you think fat guy in a little coat, right? Yeah. Fat guy, but what is Tommy Boy? Tommy Boy is a literal journey of self-discovery where a guy goes on the road, learns the value of fellowship, hard work, saves his dad's company, saves the community. It is the American dream. He gets the girl in the end, right? If that movie's made today, him and David Spade end up making love in the second act, and
wait. And then he returns home, and the business is transferred over to a black lesbian to run.
That's right. You should make it's a community center.
You should make a movie about guys.
It's a community center
subsidized by the government.
It's a subsidized, and that's what Netflix does.
You got to make a movie about guys making that movie that you're just talking about, the woke Tommy Boy thing. It's a movie about these fools making a crappy movie.
But our movies are our parables. Our just being a big, strong American. When was the last time you saw that? I mean, we had Arnold Schwarzenegger shaking hands with Carl Weathers, and that was like, yeah, get a load of this, Russia. You can't even understand everything that we even have. Again, for Gen Z, everything they watch, doomer. This sucks. White people suck. America sucks. Like
everything is
the last movie they had on Netflix where the missile is shot, and they're showing everybody.
That movie sucks.
The movie sucks, but it's also so incompetent. So you're saying every one of our 4-star generals are like, oh my God, a missile's coming. How do you think that movie would go in the 80s?
I want to stress.
It would be Superman flying out there punching the muscle.
That
were
movie
upset
is
at that
called,
movie.
was it House Full of Dynamite?
Yes,
Something like that?
yeah.
It's not a movie. It's a 20-minute short film with no ending, repeated 4 times.
It's communist
Yeah,
propaganda.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's just communist propaganda. Everything, Squid Games, communist propaganda. The communists are investing. The communists are winning because they are investing in their message. The communists are winning.
The communists are winning, yes, for those reasons, but it's because they're blindly unified.
They're religious zealots.
Right. And
We're having a political conversation with people that are religious zealots.
Yep.
And on the right, rest assured, Donald Trump will bring in more Indian workers and Chinese visas, and your thought leaders will have an argument over Israel and Candace Owens and Megyn Kelly instead. This is the point about why it's demoralizing. Like again, I want to make sure it's very clear. I'm not saying anybody's an obligation to talk about stuff. Candace Owens can talk about whatever she wants. The point is, there's no more leadership. And I wonder if it's because Charlie was holding things together more than people realized, even behind the scenes.
Probably right. But I also think, and again, maybe I'm just too far afield in this, Megyn Kelly's got a lot of money, right? Instead of, Sean Hannity goes on and he just whines about liberal Hollywood. Sean, why don't you take some of that money, invest in a movie, and then you could talk about your movie coming out.
I gotta jump in and agree. What really frustrates me is we here at Timcast spend almost all of the money that comes in on trying to build culture to push back in ways where we can do it most effectively. So Tales from the Inverted World, Shane Cashman, he's critical of the AI, he's critical of Elon, and he's talking about weird, wild conspiracy. The purpose of doing that show is a segment of people who are apolitical. So we want to enter a space where the values that we hold, pro-America, Christian values, they will permeate into other spaces. So that is a host like Shane is great to talk about Bigfoot and aliens, but his core is Christian values. We have real quick. We have with the Boonies, skateboarding got taken over by woke, and they're trying to get kids to do weird gay stuff. And so I said we need to be leaders in this space. I know a lot of people are critical of it. I think the op. I talked about this with Father Ripperger. I asked him if he thought it was demonic possession that there are people pretending to be conservatives telling the right to abandon sports, video games, and the arts.
Crazy.
And he said yes. That it is demonic influence, obsession, not position. I don't want to put words in his mouth. But when you have like G Prime 85, who made these hilarious cartoons mocking the Biden administration that went massively viral and were really effective, and conservatives attacked him nonstop. I'm like, those aren't real conservatives because you want to win you want to win culturally.
We won with memes. We won this last election with memes, man.
We need to be inspiring people. So here's back to the original point. I look at people like Kennedy, and his salary estimates like $50 million or something like that. And I'm like, that's crazy. Dude could fund 5 movies per year without even breaking half his bank. You could do $1 million budget on drama, short films, low cost, and now with AI, your CGI costs are gone. Someone like Kennedy who actually cared, because we're trying as hard as we can to do this. We are trying to create cultural waves, music or otherwise, and it's because it's what we know, so that we can inspire people. And then I look, and I've talked about this quite a bit, these ultra-wealthy people on the right, with all due respect, I don't know what Candace or Megyn Kelly or Tucker are doing outside of making a show. With all the money they make, the millions of dollars in revenue that they generate, what are they doing with it? Honest question. I'm not trying to disparage them. I'm just saying there is more than enough money on this side to create cartoons, shows, comedy, or otherwise, and we don't see it.
And scientific laboratories. Like, politics is downstream of culture. That's a famous term. Culture is downstream of science, which used to be religion. Before science existed, it was just religion. That was the belief structure of reality. Now we believe in science as kind of most people's religion. Some people blend religion and science, but you need to build religion and science. You don't need to build religion. You need to build science. You need to control the networks that allow you to propagate culture, which will then change the minds of people in politics.
Well, a good point to what you're saying, Ian. The left uses science to control their cult. They publish. What was it? Did you guys just see that one of these COVID studies got retracted because of lack of real data? And it was used during COVID to convince people to abandon any alternative medication and just go with the vaccines. The left, they've infiltrated academia so that they can publish only the studies they want. When there was a study out of the University of Oregon, I think it was, that said potentially transgenderism in young people was social contagion, activists complained and they pulled it.
Well, you know what? Not all students in the art and the sciences have been bought. This is actually laser-induced graphene. Alex Latham, when I went to the Rice University Nanotechnologies lab, he used a laser to etch Timcast into this polymer, Timcast News, Politics, and Culture. He hit it with a laser so hot that it turned the plastic into graphene. So I'm going to give this to you, Tim. We'll keep this here on the table.
Yeah, put it on top. Yeah,
He was very excited. He loves you. He was very excited that I was working with you and with him to promote these technologies. And I think that as much as we want to save and preserve our culture and our world, so many scientists
This is something
do.
that's just a little, it's a little raw to me. I think you guys have had Dave Landau on.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
Great dude. So I write on his show Normal. We got canceled yesterday, so it's a little raw, right? But for more political punditry, for more doomerism, for more, everybody talks about what's wrong in America because it gets clicks. They never proffer any solutions. They never say, okay, this is bad, but this is what I would do differently, right? I mean, as Ron Paul famously said, I was a libertarian for a long time before I came to grips with the fact that that's probably as utopian coded as communism is.
Same thing with me. I was a Ron Paul guy.
Yeah, we'll just let the marketplace of ideas, and China's just like, yes, do that, yes, okay, yeah. We'll infiltrate your systems for 100 years, and your children will be reading Lenin. So yeah, the concept, is it's too profitable to be a doomer. We have problems, sure, the horrors persist, but so do we. If I could be a hippie white pill right now, not to steal your role here, Ian, but if the concept is, look at how they have pushed us. We have been subject for at least 10 years, if not 20, all right, to economic warfare, biological warfare, psychological warfare. It's been a nonstop information and propaganda war. They have tried to separate us by race. They have tried to separate us by gender. They have tried to turn people against each other based on political views, on religion, and yet still we're here. Still we're together. Still, the fabric of society may be stretched, but I travel this country doing comedy, and it's on the ground. It is not the same in real life as it is online, right? They have done everything they possibly can do to destroy us and demoralize us, and we've taken some hits, sure, but this country persists and it survives. And we're going through the birthing pains of this fourth industrial revolution, and I hope that we can outgrow our problems. I don't know if we can or we can't, but the issue that, to your point, Tim, there's a lot of money in telling everybody how bad it is, and nobody is showing anything. And the Ron Paul quote is, the problem with Bernie Sanders, he said, the problem with Bernie Sanders is he identifies all of America's problems correctly. He just offers solutions that would make them worse.
Yep.
Right? So where are the solution people? Where are the people that are saying, I offered it before, go after student loan debt? Tim's right. You're losing Gen Z. That doesn't mean they're lost. You can win them back tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow. Let's jump to this from Newsweek. Hassan Piker stopped from filming by police in China. What we know. Heavens. They say that, let's jump to the what to know part. As the group waited, Piker joined fellow Twitch streamer Will Neff that we're all in Tiananmen Square, so we're all becoming Chinese. Jeez, dude. Neff held up his phone to the camera to show what appeared to be the AI-created image showing Mao in the likeness of Piker, accompanied by the Maoist slogan, "Closely follow the great leader Chairman Mao forward in revolution." Within seconds, a police officer approached and instructed them to put away the phone, which they did. But the audio kept recording. He wants to see the photo. He says, he said he saw you. I was just holding the camera, but I didn't do anything. The officer then asked to review the most recent footage from the live stream. The broadcast abruptly cut to black with an intermission screen displaying the message, "We're doing secret memes, be right back." When it resumed, Piker and the group were seen laughing about the encounter as they continued toward the square. "This is awesome. I don't know why people aren't enjoying all of this." And here's what happens. I believe he said this statement after the police.
Yeah, this is after.
My mind, in my conscience, I have already become Chinese. Okay? We were already white Chinese in this chat. I've already become full Chinese.
See, things are better already.
Okay? Let me just start by saying that. It's fucking sick. Okay? Like, you have abundant style consumption paired up with a centrally controlled economy, an economic system that has yielded tremendous development. You have 1950s Soviet-era building blocks next to the Gucci store. If there was ever a country that represented the synthesis, the things that I enjoy so much personally, if ever such a country existed, I do not know.
Hassan Piker praising China, which has Uyghur Muslims in prison camps where they're raped and forced to get abortions, but that's what he loves. The fascinating thing is I have no problem pointing out the U.S. has problems with drone strikes, the killing of civilians, Abdurrahman al-Awlaki. I can point out China doing it as well. The reason why I can't stand people like Hassan is that he's just in favor. He just wants to be on the winning team. I think he's making the bet here that the U.S. empire is crumbling and China is ascendant, so that's why he's praising China.
That's a horrible miscalculation.
He's an imbecile because he's talking about all of this. He's talking about abundance that China has. China does not have that in the absence of the United States. China has all of that because they are making things and selling these things to the rest of the world. And so without capitalism, without markets and access to markets, China has none of that. So Hassan thinking that he's in some kind of socialist utopia is a misunderstanding of what he's actually experiencing, and he's not smart enough to address that or understand that.
He's just happy they let him eat dogs.
Yeah.
Are you guys in favor of the tariffs? Where do you guys stand on? You're pro-tariff.
Super pro-tariff. And the tariff dividend is a brilliant idea, although I think Trump's overestimating.
The idea of taking my money with tariffs, making my products cost 20% more, and then giving $2,000 to a bunch of people, it makes me irate.
Why?
That's wealth distribution, and I'm not into that.
I'm for
redistribution.
Yeah, wealth
Totally
redistribution.
It's trade protectionism. The idea is if you want to buy products from overseas, that's detrimental to the United States. So you will pay a tax on that, which makes it more competitive for American companies to produce the products. And then we're not keeping that money for the government. It's going back to the people so that this stimulates more economic activity.
If it goes back to me, if it goes back to every person, that's one thing. If it just goes back to people with if it just goes back to the people with under $29,000 a year, if there's a cap and of wealth distribution to the poor,
if I understand correctly, it's going to go to people that make less than $100,000.
I hope that doesn't. Someone told me I sound heartless when I'm saying that, but it is a form of wealth redistribution. That it's like who thinks they have the authority to do that?
You're right. The U.S. government does.
Besant made a very good argument to Tim's point about the national security of again. There's 90% of all our pharmaceuticals come from Southeast Asia. Is that we have parts for our naval. Our Navy is getting parts from China. I mean, I don't. How can you justify that? So, I mean, if we have to create incentives for business to come back here again, if we are looking at a Gen Z issue, a working class issue where people don't have opportunity to compete for the American dream, well, then that is the government's job, right? To make sure the free market has to. You still need referees to keep it free. It's not a free for all. It's not It's not anarcho-capitalism, right? I mean, there has to. You can't compete with slave labor abroad, and it is cheap. And I used to understand the supply side argument all too well, but as we're seeing it here, we've been exploited. We've been exploited by the people that make things and selling it to people that don't.
So the tariffs so far have brought in $195 billion. They could give 97.5 million people a $2,000 dividend. It actually kind of makes sense. If they're targeting lower income people, then it seems like it is possible they do this, especially by the end of the year. I'm for it. The example I often give is the example that I know, skateboarding. It makes no sense for the United States to buy lumber from Canada, ship it to China, then ship it to the United States to sell a skateboard, and all that does is shut down American factories and American lumber demand. The bigger issue, of course, is that we import all of our aluminum from Canada, but Canada doesn't even have bauxite mines. So they're importing their aluminum from China and Brazil, refining it, and then selling it to us at a premium, which makes literally no sense. So put tariffs on it, shut that down, and say, we need refineries in the United States.
And recycling plants. They're now with gaseous chlorine, they can recycle rare earth metals really easily now.
We have Alaska as well. So the issue is free trade, the plot. Here's why you should support Trump, Ian. The liberal economic order launched after World War II was trying to prevent World War III. The idea was if we create economic ties by force, war can't happen. Why did war stop in Europe? Because trade. Everybody traded, they intermingled, and then didn't want to fight because their wealth was tied to it. So they said, here's the plan. We will give away lower tier economic blocks from the United States to foreign countries, Canada, China, Mexico, Indonesia, etc. We will then tell all of the American youth to go to college, so they will be specialists who make more money. The Americans will design the products and run the businesses where the cheap Chinese labor does all the work. The only problem, we are not the smartest people. You can't just put people in college. So what ends up happening is the liberal economic order gave away our manufacturing base, our steel, our aluminum, auto manufacturing, etc., to foreign countries. Skateboards, clothing, made no sense. They gave it away. We can't now restart it, and it's been a detriment to our economy. We again, it makes no sense climate change wise. That's a liberal argument that that Canada imports from bauxite mines in Australia and then refines the aluminum and sends it to us when we could just do it directly and cut out the middleman and save energy. The point is the tariffs are attempting to stop the liberal economic plot to force people around the world into the petrodollar by giving away American manufacturing and resources.
Okay, if it incentivizes, I'd be happy to start a manufacturing plant.
Let me put it this way. The skateboards that are made in China are selling for $90 or $100 on these professional skate websites. Boonies team boards, $50. Boonies Pro models, $55, because the wood is all from the United States, that's manufactured in the United States, printed in the United States, and shipped in the United States. We don't have to put them on boats. The problem is, if we had the skateboards made in China by Chinese peasant labor, we would save $5 per board. So American manufacturers can't compete with Chinese peasant labor.
Have you noticed a reduction in cost of production since the tariffs, like a year, for 6 months? Have you noticed anything, any changes?
Nothing's changed for our American skateboard production because we're not impacted by the tariffs. Coffee, however, we have eaten one on that. And that's why I said the tariffs don't make sense for coffee, because coffee is regional and we don't grow it here except for Kona in Hawaii.
Are there companies that have sprung up since? I mean, there's a lot of
can't grow coffee. I was just talking with the Black Rifle guys. We don't have the climate or the altitude for it. Hawaii.
That's the only.
I do
only
forget
place
that they
States.
are in America. That's
Kona coffee, and it is some of the best coffee. Seriously, Kona coffee is like top tier.
That volcanic soil.
Oh, yup, some of the best.
This is volcanic water, by the way. Icelandic. Oh no, it's glacial water. I'm sorry.
Plastic.
It's glacial. Yeah, unfortunately.
No, but for real,
glacial water.
So we are able to produce some of the best coffee, but not enough of it.
Yeah, I think the problem is the American voter, we were talking about this earlier, is a hypocrite. So you want jobs, you want our economy to be better, but that means we need to deal with China. If we deal with China, that means entrepreneurs are going to go out of business because a lot of their businesses are leveraged with Chinese products. So which one is it?
Well, it's because we gave away our manufacturing because peasant Chinese labor is cheap, and an American worker can't compete. So now Gen Z is like, I can't get a job. Don't worry, the Chinese peasant can. So what does Trump do? Okay, here's what we're going to do, and it's brilliant. If you want a skateboard from China, it's going to cost you 50% more. You buy it from America, it's going to be no tax. This means that these companies can't hire Chinese peasants to outcompete American workers anymore.
This other aspect of competition between China and the United States is the Belt and Road Initiative. Chinese are investing in Africa and a lot of mining. Yep. There's cobalt mining going on in the Congo. Well, now we just have developed, this is like in the last year, 6-8 months, they've figured out using chlorinated gas how to recycle the cobalt and reuse it. So we don't need to rely on these mines in Africa as much. And we can get that reduction. Ideally, that we harvest enough of a supply that we don't need any external foreign mines. So it's extremely promising.
We are reindustrializing here in America at an unbelievable pace. Like, that is something that has been done over the last year. There are incredible things this administration has done, not to cheerlead. There are great things that they're doing as far as upgrading technology. They're doing things with air travel that's going to revolutionize. Are they going to run out of time?
Yes.
That's now, that becomes when you have the midterm, and then you're going to be lame duck going into 28. Are they going to have the time to get to the finish line? And that, I think, more than anything else, is where you get frustrated with how much time they spent and how much energy and resources they spent, especially in information and media equity, on foreign policy. Because what they're doing at home, and I love Besson. I think Besson's great, man. I think he's brilliant, and I see the vision. And you said something to me yesterday, like, man, if we could just get America to go on a diet. I don't know why you said it to me personally, but if we could just get America to go on a diet for 12 months, we could set ourselves up for the next 30 years.
Yeah,
if we can get this country to buy in, and I think to Tim's point, the right leader could do that. The right leader could do, guys, listen. I know this isn't great right now, but this is the plan, and it's gonna work. And we just all need to get together, come together. Let's not spend. Let's have an economic diet for 12 months, guys, and we'll throw a big party in 12 months.
This is the problem of this is the problem of democratic constitutional republicanism. A king can simply stand there and say, "We are overspending, and cuts are going to happen in the budget."
And if you don't like it.
Too bad.
And if you don't like it, I got a different kind of cut. So the issue right now is the Speaker of the House is going to say, we need to reduce the budget. We're in a deficit. The Democrats are going to say, no. You cut Republicans. No, I can't. Everybody just argues and everyone agrees, you know what? Let's all just keep deficit spending. There's no centralized authority to say, I'm making the decision, we're making the cuts. Think about a
makes $11 billion a year off Snap.
Think about a business where the boss goes, I have to make a hard choice. We're going to be laying people off because we don't have infinite money. I have fired 10% of the staff. And it's unfortunate, but we're closing the travel and exploration division of the media company. Then people are all sad. If there was no boss and everybody from the company had to come in and sit down and argue over who was getting fired, they're all going to say, not me. Is it going to be you? No, don't vote against me. If you, I'll side with you. And then they go, how about we just steal money from other people so we don't got to get fired? And that's the American system.
Yeah, I think one or two things are true. One, maybe he went into the White House with the mindset of, I'm going all in on this. And then, of course, the courts got involved. Deep State got involved and started slowing him down. Or two, maybe he doesn't have the people around him who are willing to do what it takes. Because what we're asking for is it's a big price that needs to be paid. We need to deal with China. People scream about Israel every day, and they have nothing to say about China. Are you kidding me? China could end us tomorrow just with the supply chain.
Yep.
They don't even need to deploy their military.
Well, China, a disease escaped from one of their labs.
Exactly.
And set the world, put the world on pause for 5 years. Untold economic pain, and they've never once been held accountable.
Not only that,
has anybody ever been like, well, we're not doing trade with China because they infected the world? Not once, right? So isn't that kind of weird that nobody's ever once been like, hey, China, you owe us something?
They're still
the
pointing
best
the finger.
is selling a book, screwing about Fauci all day long, but not actually prosecuting him.
I used to think that Trump didn't have the people around him that knew what the best technologies on the planet are that we need to implement, and that may still be the case, but there's a lot of Department of Energy contracts that aren't on the news that I'm learning about when I'm at the nanotechnologies labs. Like, they're pumping this technology into the government right now. So there might be a hyper acceleration going on with some competitive undertech, like transforming to a carbon-based system instead of a steel. Like, instead of heavy steels, you've got like lightweight carbons and hydrogen fuels instead of petroleum fuels. I think that might be happening behind the scenes. I just need the morale boost from the president.
Yeah, I think really quickly, he planted the seeds. They don't harvest overnight. So let's see what happens next year. Because I think that's judgment time. I think judgment time for everything he's done in the first 10 months is going to be next spring. And it's either going to be, okay, I see where this is going finally. Or, to Tim's point, it's a nightmare.
Well, I mean, so one of the positive things about Donald Trump, and it's really easy to get blackpilled considering like the way things have gone for the past few months. But Donald Trump is not an ideologue, right? He's not a libertarian ideologue who totally believes that libertarian ideas are the way to go. He's not a socialist who's like, this is, Marx was right and blah, blah, blah. He's not ideologically motivated. He's motivated by his own ego, and he's motivated by being able to say, look, I did this and it worked. He wants people to like him. He wants to be successful. So if a policy is not working, he will change that policy. Yeah. And there's evidence. He has a historical precedent having done that kind of stuff. If he's he's got a policy that he's pushing or that he's championing and it doesn't work, he will change it. If there is something that he thinks, if there's a policy that's brought to him that he thinks will work, he will try it. And that is something that you can say, you know, this might be a saving grace for the Trump administration, because I'm sure that he's heard a bunch of the pushback on the H-1Bs, and hopefully that will be, you know, he'll actually adjust course with that, because that's not popular and the American people don't want that.
He's missing Kayleigh McEnany too. I mean, Carolyn Levitt, whatever you think, Kayleigh got the message out. She was on point. She could communicate. They're losing the information war more than anything else.
I don't know how you recover from Trump saying on TV H-1Bs.
I know.
They're
listen,
trying, but yeah.
It's because you have to be realistic. Trump's being honest.
Yeah.
That, like I bring up all the time, Gen Alpha's 42 million people. In 3 years, Gen Alpha should be entering the workforce, but they're half the size of Gen Z. And we already don't have the Gen Z 18-year-olds because the birth rate drop-off extends into the youngest portions of Gen Z as well. Universities are already closing. Mathematically, you need workers now, otherwise the system will break down. All that matters is this. Immigration won't solve the problem. It's a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. And no civilization has ever recovered from this trend. Ever.
But
Population collapse is the trend?
Yes.
No civilization's ever had this technology that we have either.
Sure. The issue is that 18 years ago, I was supposed to have a kid. Historically and traditionally, at 22 is when I would have my first child. I didn't. I was sleeping on floors. I had $10 an hour job at the airport. I could barely afford rent or a car. And so I figured out how to make things work. But for all that I've talked about with I succeeded, I started a business, I wasn't able to start a family at that time. And realistically, by 30, I could have. But trying to succeed and work and not just stagnate was part of what motivated me in the first place. So for many young people, just nobody had kids. You cannot have children right now to solve the problem of 18 years ago. So even if everybody right now had 4 kids, it's still going to be 20 years until we turn things around.
Sometimes a bandage on a bullet wound will keep you alive long enough to get to the hospital.
Band-Aid
18 years
on a bullet wound.
But
the point is,
if
it
it's
won't.
a strong enough bandage, it could keep you alive until the solution is presented. And there's this technology called, they're calling it the molecular jackhammer. It's this little molecule that goes out and in 1 trillion times a second when you shine infrared light on it. It may be able to incite pregnancy and help women become more fertile. So we may be able to see women having kids into their later 50s and 60s.
I got one of those. It came.
You got the jackhammer on you right now?
I got one of those.
I can tell.
It came stock.
Yeah, dude. You were built with the jackhammer.
Well, hold on. The problem is 40% of women under 30 years old want to lead this country, and they do not want to have kids.
So you got to change their mindsets.
That's what I said. Step 1 is always mindset.
It's actually, well, according to Tony Robbins, you change your state.
There's probably somebody,
dude,
there's probably somebody out there like Elon or somebody's probably working on like trying to get female gestation and pregnancy down to like 3 months or something. They're working on an efficiency.
Again, the problem is that's a symptom. The root cause is in here. It's just like what you're saying. Why can't an 18-year-old, a 19-year-old get one income, get a house, and have a family? That's the root cause.
I want to pull up this story from Upworthy. Millennial woman uses clever 3 wishes metaphor to explain why she doesn't want kids. Okay, let's hear this.
You know how I know that I don't want to have kids? If you gave me a genie and you said you don't have
Okay, wait. Let's try this again.
Sounds like AI.
I tried to make it bigger. Yeah.
I want to have kids. If you gave me a genie and you said you can have 3 wishes, and I said I want unlimited money, I want a 100% guarantee that I'm going to have 0 complications in my pregnancy, my birth, it's not going to cause any problems in my relationship at all, and I'd magically have unlimited time to be able to do everything that I wanted as well as raise this child, I still wouldn't do it. Not everybody is meant to procreate. And that is okay. And it's not some kind of feminist brainwash telling me that I'm finally allowed or should be selfish. It's that we are the first generation that's openly talking about it like this, and it makes people mad. Oh, but Tara, you're going to be missing out on so much if you don't have kids. Yes. And you're going to be missing out on so much by having kids that I'm going to have in my child-free life. That is okay.
That's not true.
Bookmark and check back in 15 years.
Right.
But like babysitters exist. Like the idea that like you had a kid and all of a sudden now you can't do things. Like, what are you doing? You want to go on vacation? You can bring your kid, or you can hire a babysitter, or like this is the funny thing. the idiocy and the brainwashing of this. We used to live with our families. So, like, if my wife and I want to go do something, guess what? Mother-in-law, or grandma will watch baby. There's literally no concern or issue whatsoever. The thing is, we usually just want to stay home and hang out with the kid. Like, I would rather watch my daughter learning how to crawl. It's exciting. Then go do anything else. This is the brainwashing that she doesn't understand because people aren't around family and kids anymore. But because of this insanity, you now have a collapsing civilization everywhere, not just in the United States, because she doesn't understand. And you know what it is? It's like Dennis Prager called it with cut stem politics, or whatever you call it, cut root. I always get the phrase wrong, but he says, you hold up a beautiful flower and everyone can see how beautiful it is, but you've severed it from its roots, and in a matter of time, it will die. So what happens is you get women who are told to believe they can have it all. They can't, so they don't. Then they're told to justify why they don't have families and why they should be happy. Then they go into media jobs and tell other women they're happy, trust me. Then you get women who grow up, don't even understand. So that argument from her is fascinating because if you wanted to be honest and you actually had kids and said, here's what it was like before I had kids, here's what it's like when I have kids, what does almost every single parent tell you?
Kids are better.
Kids are better. I love my kids. I can't imagine living without them. I should have had kids sooner. I wish I had more. Yet for some reason, all of the people who never had kids are like, I'm totally fine not having kids.
No, it's not just women. I fell victim to that propaganda. I had a good woman that, that I didn't make my millions yet. I need to do my career. I got it. And now I sit here 10 years on, not married, childless. No, I do go to Colombia a couple times a year, so I don't know. But as far as I know, not, I don't have any kids. And it's harrowing because I think for a long time I didn't think I wanted kids. Now I do want kids for sure. And now I start thinking, my parents are getting older. I've robbed them of the joy of watching their grandkids grow up. And to your point, like, what am I going to do? I'm going to be 60 in the club. This is like I'm going to be sitting there with a bunch of cat ladies and, having another bottle and another and cat. Like it's this idea that you had to be wealthy to have kids. Everybody's broke. I know people that make $1 million a year and put $500,000 of it up their nose. Like everybody's broke, dude. Right. You know what I'm saying? So like.
And broke is a state of mind a lot of times too.
People figure it out. Yeah, it's a big mistake I made, and I feel very, very bad for our generation because we were definitely psyoped into.
Well, it's not just that. It's the economy was bad. There's a bunch of factors that conspired against us, and we were told by these leftists and anti-America people they fomented this problem. But I want to say this. I am successful. I am of resources. I could do a lot of things. I could charter a private jet and go fly to Iceland and party over the weekend. I could literally do whatever I wanted. I could book a private jet for next weekend. We got the skate event coming up this weekend. For next weekend and go to Nolans and play poker in the Big Easy. I don't want to. My daughter has started waving for the first time.
Yeah.
So whenever like my wife would see me, she'd come over, she waves, and then I would wave back. And then just in the past couple of days, my daughter was almost 9 months. She's now waving her arm at us, and we're like, she's learning, and it's magic. And I'm like, I got to be honest.
The AI is evolving.
The thought of, I got to be real. Like life gets boring at a certain point. I have traveled the world. I have been to 30 some odd, like 36 different countries. I have witnessed revolutions and the fomenting of civil war. I was in Ukraine at the start of what turned into the civil war and now eventually a full-scale war. I was in Egypt during revolution. I gotta be honest. Eventually, it's just like, it's kind of, I've been there, done that. And now I have a daughter and it's like the most interesting thing ever and the most exciting thing, seeing her grow and develop. And these women are being told to what? Go to the club for the 3,000th time, get drunk, and then go bang some random guy? At a certain point, don't you get bored of doing nothing?
But at this time, it's in Mykonos.
Oh, I got to tell you, I have been to most of the countries I could care to be to, have traveled to, right? Morocco. I guess Antarctica might be fun, but we can still do it even with kids. It's just at a certain point, I started to notice, yeah, Japan was really fun, But it's not distinct enough to want to go there all the time. You want to move there, good luck. They're very, not pro-immigration, but I guess now they are. So at a certain point, I don't understand these women who are like, I just don't want to have kids. I want to do stuff. Do what? Like, honest question, do what? You've been to the club, you've been to the show, you've seen it a million times. Culture is stagnating. What more could interest you? These women, I'll tell you this is what I said of Chelsea Handler. She's going to be 60, 68, 70 years old, dying, and they're going to bring her she's going to be in the hospital room. The doctor's going to come in and say, ma'am, I'm sorry, but it's terminal. Is there someone you'd like me to call? And she's going to go, no. And he's going to say, well, press the button if you need anybody. And they're going to walk out, and then she's going to be sitting there staring at the beige wall as she slowly dies. That's hell.
Yeah.
Or you have kids, and the doctor comes in and says, I have terrible news. It's terminal. Is there anyone you need me to call? And to say, no, my family's outside waiting. And then your 3 kids and your 7 grandkids are all standing there crying, saying they love you, and they're going to be there for you till, and everything you've built and everything you've dreamed of will carry on forever.
That'll also give you as somebody who has family that's going through cancer right now, that gives you the will to fight on.
My God, I would not wish.
Kids keep you young.
Chelsea, imagine Chelsea Handler. I would not wish on my worst enemy, her having terminal cancer in her twilight years, in a hospital bed with all of the money that can buy her nothing, and she's just alone. Because what's going to happen to these people? I tell you the nightmare story. Let me put it like this. I'll try to be nice. I'm hanging out at the casino playing poker, as I like to do, and there are guys who are like 77 years old playing poker every single day with their Social Security money, and when I first started playing here, I was talking to some of the younger guys, and I was like, what's with all the older dudes who just sit here and they barely play? They'll get 2 cards and they'll throw them away no matter what, almost. And it's like, well, they don't want to lose their money because they're only here because they're lonely. So these older guys who have no friends. Now here's the kicker. They have family. Their kids grew up. Their kids are off doing their thing, and they're lonely. But the reality is their friends are all dead. And so I'm like, this old dude who's spending his Sunday 12 hours sitting at a table, not really playing the game. Like they call him old man coffee.
Just to be around somebody.
Because their friends are all dead. And so they're around younger guys, conversation might happen. And one of the days was really funny. I'm a goofball sometimes at the poker table. And so old man finally raises. And you know what's happening when the old man does this. He's got aces. He's got the best hand. And so I had something trash like 7-4 offsuit. And I'll give the old man action. I call. Hit 2 pair, beat him. He was there for like 20 minutes. He stands up and goes, well, I guess that's it. And then just turns around and starts walking off. And I'm like, welling up like, oh, man.
Yeah, that's why I stopped playing. I kept taking people's money. And then
it's not about that. It wasn't about taking his money. It's that he only had a little bit. And what he really wanted was just to spend time with the boys. But here's the sad reality. There's a point. They don't have the boys anymore. Let me tell you another thing that's going to rip out the heart of all the millennial guys. You're hanging out with your buddies.
You could have staked them, Tim.
Hold on.
Yeah, you could have slid a 20.
You're hanging out with your friends playing Halo multiplayer. You ordered some pizzas and wings, and the Mountain Dew is right there on the table. It's messy. Someone's rolling a joint. And you play. It's about 1 a.m. You're going to go home, go to sleep. You've got class in the morning. So you get up and you say, all right, boys, till next time. And they say, right on. But there never was a next time. Ooh. That was the last time you guys got together and played video games, and you didn't know it was the last time.
That one doesn't get me as much because I'm about to play some Fallout 76 with my homies from high school. And now we all have kids. Yeah. Well, not I have.
Point is, at a certain point,
I forgot that I don't have kids.
There was a last time for everything. There was a funny post on Reddit where they said at one point you picked up your child for the last time and you didn't realize it. And it was really funny because a guy commented saying, my dad walked into he was 20. He's like, I'm 20 years old. My dad walked into the kitchen, lifted me up. And I said, Dad, what the hell are you doing? And he was like hell, I haven't picked up my son for the last time. Yeah, it's like, you're my kid. But what I'm saying is to these women who don't have kids, when I see these old men who even did have kids and are still looking for some kind of time to spend with other people, it is the utmost of horrifying hellscape realities. You know, they say that the final circle of hell, the 9th circle of hell, you are chewed in the mouth of Satan, surrounded by ice for eternity, for your betrayal. And if I had to choose between dying lonely in a sterile environment. At least Satan is there with you. Like, solitary confinement is torture because humans need the presence of others.
That's right.
So these Chelsea Handler type women who are going to be dying of, experiencing renal failure in the hospital. And here's my point about Chelsea Handler. Those who know who she is and care what she has to say are going to die. She will be an old woman, and Gen Alpha and Gen Bravo are going to be like, I don't know who that lady is.
Yeah, she's selling the disease of loneliness.
I remember when George Burns died. You guys remember when George Burns died?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Meant nothing to me. But I remember my parents were like, wow. I remember when George Carlin died. And that meant something to me a little bit because as a child, I saw some of these George Carlin comedy specials. I knew he was famous. And I was a fan as I was growing up as a teenager. But I know if you go to most Gen Z people, the death of George Carlin is like, I don't know, he's a guy who died.
John Madden for me.
And right. And so Chelsea Handler will come to that point where the younger generation is like, we don't know or care who you are.
Yeah, your fans aren't your friends. I mean, no offense. People watching, probably you feel a kinship, but the reality is your family, man. The people that you spend every day with and build this, what's called pragma. It's a kind of love. This is pragmatic love that's developed through overcoming adversity with people. That's your family.
Chelsea Handler is going to spend her twilight years, when she is not convalesced, in her estate with some like Gen Alpha or Gen Bravo caretaker who's wiping her ass and changing her diapers. And she's going to be a bitter old crone like in those movies. And the kids outside are going to be playing baseball and they're going to be like, the ball lands in her lawn and go, no, don't go over there. That's old lady Handler's house. And some kid's going to be like, I ain't scared of no witch. And they're going to run over to grab the ball and she's going to look out the window and go, you get off my lawn, yeah!
Old lady Handler.
Yeah, I would say people like her that you read in this article, including Chelsea Handler, is that they have lost their purpose. And that's the biggest thing with these women today is they have no purpose. They think the money, the career is their purpose. No, it isn't. It's just like a man. What is our purpose? To protect, to provide, to build. And a woman's purpose is to nurture, right? Support. And there's a lot of skills and innate talent that women have that are going to waste. And they're, going into these careers, which there's nothing wrong with getting a career.
Fighting their biology.
But there is nothing like having
SSRIs.
Exactly. But there's nothing like having children. And the people who rage against having children are people who don't have children. It's from a place of ignorance.
A friend of ours.
That's a great point.
A friend of ours from the UK. His name's Carl. He continuously tells people, you have a responsibility to have children. Right. You have a responsibility to raise those children, to carry on humanity.
Let me just I'll get to the meat and potatoes here. This woman saying she won't have kids, not her personal, because I don't know her politics, but many of these women are liberal leftists. They vote for Commie Mom Donnie. How dare you demand that my child pay taxes so you can be funded by the state because you didn't have a family? Mm-hmm. When most of these millennial men and women who vote left are struggling to walk and crapping in their pants, the state is it's going to happen because there are so many childless men and women, particularly millennials. They are going to be propped up by the state. They're going to vote. They're going to be in their 50s and 60s, and they're going to say, we want the government to clean our butts. And that means the money for that is going to come from my daughter.
It'll be millennials and possibly Gen Z that are going to be saying terrible things or that are going to be relying on young people to pay for them. And those same people currently, right now, are bitching about the boomers, how the boomers didn't do anything for them and blah, blah, blah. And they're doing the exact same thing. By not having kids, they're making it so that way the younger generations are going to have more and more of a difficult time to pay for their Social Security, their Medicare, their Medicaid. It's disgusting when you really think about it.
It's not just that boomers own the corporate equities and the properties. It's that these millennial women, largely and the reason I'm saying women is not to single out women for not having kids, because men don't have kids too. It's because they overwhelmingly vote left, and the right doesn't. They're expecting Gen Alpha and Bravo to pay Social Security taxes so the government can wipe their asses for them when they're elderly and dying.
They've been promised a life without accountability.
Responsibility,
That's what it is. They've been sold that, and this is what socialism does. They've been sold a life sans accountability. Nothing's your fault. Nothing will ever be your fault. Nothing was ever on you. But instead, they've been given a life without purpose, to your point.
Exactly. You know, Tim, you said something earlier, which is when you make a lot of money, which I do now, I'm very blessed. I will say that.
Congratulations.
You realize, wow, it really doesn't matter. I mean, you realize, well, if I lost it, I can make it again. Or you realize, especially when you have kids, yeah, my son right now, who I just miss him right now. You know what I mean? I literally would rather be there. I love being here, by the way. Yeah. But you know what I mean? That feeling of like, oh man, I got to leave right now.
When we were in, we went to DC for the Comedy Loft show, and my wife and daughter stay. Or actually, a better example is I went to Austin to do a bunch of going on to people's shows. I was just the whole time being like, I'd rather be back there hanging out with family. Like I said, it is infinitely more interesting to me when my daughter waved to me for the first time than literally anything else. And to be fair, you know, I'm almost 40, so I have done a lot. And the argument is like you're in your 20s and you want to see the world and you want to do things, but all of that is still possible.
Yeah.
It's I would have rather have had a kid younger and then now be like, okay, now I'm going to go travel and do stuff that, you know, empty nester or whatever you got to do. But, you know, it could go either way. What I will just say is I feel like everything that was interesting to me, I've largely done. And most things now are of trivial novelty. So if someone's like, you want to go golfing? I'll go, I guess we'll go to Top Golf. And it's just like, I'm not obsessed with it. I'm not psychotically passionate about it. I'm particularly obsessive. That's why I work 16-hour days. But with having a daughter, that's just infinitely more interesting than anything else I could think of right now. Yep. And you know, to be honest, like we definitely wanted to have a kid sooner. We should have had a kid sooner. It is what it is. It happened how it happened, and I'm glad we have the daughter we have, and we're actually planning on having more kids. But I'm just sitting here thinking like of these women, again, to go to the point I made before, at what point are you like, the club is boring?
There is no return on investment in the way that they think. None. Results show that. History has shown that. It's like what we were saying in the car, which is they manufacture problems thinking they need to solve these made-up problems. Like the problem is, oh, women can't have a career. When did that actually become a problem exactly?
When the pharmaceutical companies figured out that they could put half the country on birth control and SSRIs forever, so let's just pump this down.
I will add as a final thought too, like there were corporations and people in government that thought we can double the economic output by putting women in the workplace and compete in the Cold War. It's like, how do we beat the Soviets? If women work, we're going to double our economic output, and here we are. But we're going to go to your chats in the Discord backstage. So, my friends, all of you hanging out backstage right now, send in your questions because some of you have already inferred correctly that I wanted some chats to come in so that we jump to it. We'll have some already in the roster, which we do. So smash the like button, share the show. Thanks for hanging out for this episode of Timcast IRL. And if you want to get in the IRL backstage pre-record, go to timcast.com, click join us, because we can't do this without you. If you believe the work we do is important and you want to see us continue, you must go to timcast.com and click join us. You get in that Discord community, you'll make friends. Some people have actually gotten married. I think like 5 couples now. Something like
people.
That's pretty wild. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Man, it's community, man. This is what it's all about.
You're in flow state a lot too. When people are in flow state, they fall in love. I've noticed that over the years.
You find like-minded people, and you will be surprised what you find. I don't want to tell you that you're going to find love by joining the Timcast Discord, but some people did. The more important thing is, community is our strength, and if you agree with our views, if you think they're right, we want those ideas to grow and spread as we face the harshest times we have in a generation or in our generation. So join us, support the work we do, and now we're going to grab your questions. Let's see what we got here in the old IRL Discord chat. I went too far back, I think. What do we have? Here we go. Kevin Adele says, can these people on the right claiming the beeper joke was a threat against Meghan be trusted on anything if they believe the joke was funny against Mehdi Hassan? I say no. They're just like the left and only support free speech when they agree with it. I agree it's hypocritical. When I saw the beeper joke about Megyn Kelly, I saw them Babylon Bee when they posted it. I went, I was more surprised they were going after Megyn Kelly in this way, because I was like, I don't recall Megyn Kelly actually doing anything to warrant being called a Hamas supporter. Yeah. Which is wild.
The fact that there's so much, so many people on the right that are going after other people on the right, it's frustrating because, again, there are real tangible problems that the United States is facing. and to spend your time just going after other people that have what at the end of the day is a minor disagreement, a small disagreement. It's to me, it's counterproductive, and you're only helping the left.
And you know what else is worse is when they attempt to go after these people but won't say their name. Like, if you're going to talk about Candace Owens, just say her name. Just say what it is. Go all in.
So somebody commented in Discord like earlier in the show. They said Tim is attacking a lot of people this week, and my response to that is just when I criticize leftists, I'm not attacking people. You know, like the issue right now is my criticisms are aimed at people who are of the right, which I typically don't do because I'll give them the benefit of the doubt because I think that we're aligned mostly. It's not because I think they're always right. The left I don't trust and get no benefit of the doubt. So when the left comes out and acts a fool, I'll say they're acting a fool. When Candace does something, I'll be like, well, I don't know. I want to be careful here. But now we're at the point where it's just overt and obvious and all worthy of critique and criticism. And I'll also stress, too, because people were mad that I said Nick Fuentes was frail and effeminate. That's not me attacking his positions. It's me pointing out that Nick, and I don't mean this derisively to insult him, he is a small, thin, frail man. Like, he's not, well, I mean, small is not, maybe a little bit more extreme. What is he like? He's like 5'7", 5'8", but he's fairly thin. My point is a lot of young guys, if they emulate him, they're not getting a fitness routine elements or some kind of exercise. And people were like, wow, Tim's attacking Nick. And I'm like, well, offering a light critique for saying he should promote fitness along with what he's promoting, I guess. I don't know. But that's silly to me.
He should do a yoga video.
No, he should not.
I'd like to see him stretch.
I'll say the same thing of Ian.
I'm not frail, though. I'm limber and tight.
How much do you weigh?
/133 today.
And how tall are you?
133?
5'11".
I'm 5'7". I weigh 180 pounds.
Yeah, but it's like my visceral fat level is a 2. It's extremely healthy on the inside.
Ian, you're making me feel overweight.
Oh, well, I'm just like the low end of healthy weight.
You should come to the gym with me.
Yeah.
I'd be down. I have a gym in my house. I'd be down.
We tried. We actually did this, and Ian did put on some weight. We hired a personal trainer and had him.
I don't like carrying it. It's heavy. It requires a lot of upkeep.
I don't believe that for a second.
What is your diet?
Usually lentils, like soups, lean meats, sometimes cheese. I get this Moon cheese. I buy like bags of dehydrated cheese. Yeah. Those for my protein, late night fats and stuff. Low sugar, coconut water.
So you only eat once a day, or?
I prefer to eat once a day. Big meals once a day.
I eat once a day.
Intermittent fasting.
And I'm 5'10", 185.
I cut gluten out. I barely do any wheat. And that is a huge reduction in like just excessive gunk in my system.
I agree. I cut that out. It was causing me inflammatory issues.
But I like feeling hungry. I enjoy the feeling of the internal struggle, the working out my insides by, eating all the garbage.
You would be successful in the military.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Slick says, nobody's really talking about what's been done to Alex Jones. What are your thoughts on everything from the bogus default judgment and the end of InfoWars? When will the right step in to stop this? Or are they just going to let it happen and still not use the same tactic on the corporate media that sent us to war for lies and sparked violence in the summer of love? Side note, that was me that made the attack comment, and you missed the part where the commies aren't people. Oh, okay. Important. Commies aren't people. I actually talked about this. The Supreme Court rejected Alex Jones's appeal, and I said the Supreme Court are cowards. This is why I've been saying, I forgive me if it's black-pilled. It's like, save yourselves. Like, again, the H-1B visa thing from Trump, the Supreme Court refusing to take up the gay marriage issue or the Alex Jones issue, no one is coming to save you. The left is going to keep ramming things forward because there's nothing but cowards. Vote Republican means vote for cowards to stand there crying and cowering even when they're in power. Vote for Democrats or not, they're going to smash things anyway. You know what? Sorry.
You got to do it yourself. Don't throw your vote away. And what I mean by that is don't just vote and walk away from it. You got to do it yourself. Put people in power that are the least worst choices, but you got to do it yourself.
You have to be willing to play by the rules the other team's willing to play at. Like, if the other team breaks the rules and you don't, you're not noble, you're a sucker, okay? Supreme Court says we're not going to test this, then Rachel Maddow, everybody that said every lie about everything in the media for the last 10 years, sue them under the same precedent. Use the precedent to go after everybody.
The problem is you have a sitting member of Congress who essentially called the president a pedophile. She will not be held liable for that.
Well, there's the what you call it, the debate and clause or whatever.
If they're on the floor of Congress, they can't be.
Well, we do have a law. It's a McCarthy era law. Dan Holloway talked to me about it yesterday, and It is a law.
It's great.
It's the communist. What is it?
Communist Control Act.
Communist Control Act.
It's still a law. Now
It's a law.
There are parts of it that the Supreme Court has struck down, but it's only parts of it. It's not the full law. And to that point, we should be doing tests about who we allow in the United States. If you have an ideology that is abhorrent to our fundamental principles, like communism, if you don't believe in property rights and stuff, you should not be allowed to become an American. That should be disqualifying. You do not get to come to the United States and become a citizen for the purpose of subverting our system. That should be obvious to everyone.
And then you definitely don't get to run for office in Minnesota.
100%.
So you guys are in support of having a king then?
I don't care what you call it.
You don't.
Listen,
I don't think my personal politics would be very.
Yeah, I have fairly radical views. I don't think that I'm against universal enfranchisement. I think that you should have some kind of stake in our society if you're going to vote. I think that specifically for federal elections, there should be some kind of test or some kind of criteria that you meet to be able to vote in the.
I prefer the term emperor or Augustus to king.
And voter ID, please.
Well, absolutely, 100%. But I think that if you're dealing with state level, I think then you can make a more compelling argument about universal enfranchisement on a state level. But when it comes to federal level, the powers that the federal government has are supposed to be very limited. They're expressly articulated in the Constitution. So we shouldn't have everybody voting to have a total democracy when it comes to federal law. You want to have that for states, that's okay, but not when it comes to federal law. There should be stringent rules and there should be stringent criteria that you have to meet if you're going to vote for a federal.
I think in order to here's simple: if you're all elected office must be naturally born Americans. There you go.
Yeah. I don't disagree with that. Anything that lowers the number of uninformed voters, in my opinion, is great. And people will sit there and say, well, what about you? Would you give up your right to vote? I would give up my right to vote in a heartbeat if I knew that the Constitution was going to protect my rights. And that I knew that there weren't going to be people that were going to be allowed to vote the federal government to give them benefits.
All right, we got I Make Part says, to Phil's point, is it possible that Trump is checking the temperature with H-1B to see what the reaction from the base is? Yeah, I don't think so. I think there's a reality that Trump knows economically we need more workers to keep things going.
He saw what happened last year with Vivek Ramaswamy, so I'm sure he's definitely aware.
I love the cope. Every time Trump does something, it's really the first move on the chessboard to see how there's a reaction. No, the dude spoke, and Bessent was like, no, don't say it like that. Say we got 6 million jobs, only 600,000 Americans. Why would you say it like that, dude?
Donald Trump is the king of throwing stuff against the wall and seeing what sticks.
Yeah, he needs attention. He's addicted to attention. So if he's not saying anything spicy, he's not getting the headlines. He likes it.
Here's a good combo. We have Braxton 3300 and Joe Clay. Braxton says, "How do you think we reconcile the youth with the boomers, considering the youth were left with nothing and the boomers are dying with everything?" Joe Clay says, "How can anyone on the right claim that student loan forgiveness is a good idea? It's ridiculous." This is a great combo question because my proposal for student loan forgiveness is not to forgive the principal but the interest. So what you would say is, if you took out $50K as of a certain point of time, like first, we're going to stop the loan system. Colleges should not be subsidized by the loan system. Then, for all these people who are saddled with debt, it makes no sense that you took out a $50,000 loan, paid back $200,000 15 years later, and still owe $50,000. So what we do is we say, you got to pay back what you were given. Interest is forgiven. And if you've already paid more in interest than your principal, then we're writing off the rest of your debt because you've overpaid. This is a split the baby kind of thing. We have to recognize that our country, under the liberal economic order, lied to young people and told them to take out massive debt and become indentured servants, and they are pissed. If we don't release that pressure, you are going to get communist revolution. Mm-hmm. The young people are basically saying, you lied to me, I can't pay this back, and I can't find a job, so I'm going to vote in communist to burn the whole thing down. Or we can say, how about this? We're going to forgive the interest, meaning kids fresh out of college who owe $50,000, they still got to pay back $50,000. But if you're 35 and you've already paid back 60 of the 50, we wipe that 50 off and apply the 10,000 to your taxes. So you've repaid every penny that was given to you, but now you have an opportunity to start saving and build some wealth, start a family, whatever it is you need to do. I don't think we should say, here's free money, go spend it. Oh, now forget about it. You never got to pay it back, because it's going to gut a large portion of the economy. But I will stress again, for the first question of reconciling with boomers who have everything to the young people, basically letting these younger people know, older Gen Z, we get it. You need an opportunity, and the debt's holding you back, and the degree isn't helping you. So we are going to say, you paid for your degree, you get it. Here's the interest off. Have some relief. Otherwise, it's tits up.
Yeah, and I would actually add on to that and say, if we really want to forgive their loans, then the price that they should pay is getting into a trade, engineering, lawyer, some type of specialized skill. And in the end, your loan gets forgiven. But we know you're getting trained on something that is going to further this economy.
That's the GI Bill argument, right? Like, okay, we can get rid of your student loans. You don't serve in the military, and that's fine. But there's a predatory aspect to this that gets like, it really is a consumer protection issue, and it's not just kids. Like, so I'm working on a project right now. There's a real project that we're working on. You try to get a loan, $100,000 for a movie, they won't give you a loan as an adult with credit score, right? But if me and 6 other people, actors and crew members, we're going to apply to a community college. We're going to take out loans to go to community college, and the community college we're going to have access to all the equipment we need, all of the sets, all of the sounds, and we're going to make a movie within a movie. But the real thing is a documentary about how basically we're defrauding the community college out of, like, we're not going to go to class. We're literally just there to take our $2,000 loans and get the movie made inside of it, because we can't get a loan to make the film, but we can get a loan to go to community college.
Yeah.
So
imagine
imagine
this.
Completely legal.
Wait.
That's what I'm saying.
Here's a fun one. Imagine being 18 and going to a bank and saying, I would like a $40,000 loan to buy silver. In 4 years, I will pay you back. They're going to say, absolutely not. Mm-hmm. Then if you go, I want a loan, $40,000, and hopefully I'll get a job to pay you back with. They go, sounds good to us.
It's crazy.
They're giving you $40,000, and there's literally no collateral, no guarantee. And you can't declare bankruptcy. It's just like, it makes no sense.
That's really quick. That's where the president got it wrong, because he pushed back on universities going out of business. No, I think we would happily support some universities going out of business, because they have made their money and some.
All right, Moonman says, with all the talk about families trying to foster a resurgence of babies, would y'all be willing to make a dating channel? Could be as simple as just a place to more specifically ask for advice.
Yeah, I'll be the main guy. I need to find a woman. So yeah, I'll be the guy. Bring women in. I'll talk to them.
Sounds like the Discord. I think it's already there.
It is.
That's what he's asking for in the Discord, to have a channel just for dating advice and stuff.
But sure. All jokes aside, part of like living in Miami now, man, like the ideological part of it is a hard thing. You fall in love with somebody, or you fall in lust with them from the way that they look, but then as you get to know each other, having somebody that is already ideologically aligned with you is going to remove a massive hurdle. I mean, that's why so many people, went to church for so long, and that they had that community. If nothing else, we have our values are the same based in faith, right? So having the ideologically aligned dating is, I mean, J-Date's very popular for a reason. It's not the worst idea in the world.
Timcast date. All right. Let's see what we got here. Discord likes to hide. John K. says, just want to say Nick Freitas and Dave Tate are leaders of men. Those that follow Nick Fuentes and Andrew Tate are little boys. The day I see Andrew squat 600 pounds 2 weeks after his hip replacement walking under the bar with a cane, I will give him respect. You know what the thing is, though? Nick Freitas is great. And there was a really great moment on the show where he said that his wife had said something to his daughter about being like, hey, I forgot what he said, but she was like scolded. And then his daughter's walking through the hallway and making a face like insulting her mom. And she didn't realize that he was there. And he stopped her and was like, don't you talk about my wife that way. And I told my wife that, and she smiled, and she's like, yes, you have to be like that. And I'm like, right, that's what you should. You want to teach responsibility. And like, I get that his daughter wasn't really doing, she was venting to herself, but dad caught you, don't act untoward. So I agree. The thing is, people feel there's a cathartic release from Fuentes and Andrew Tate in their rage, in their anger, and in their aggression. It makes people feel like it's a sense of justice. Something wrongs them, something is bad for them, and these guys are aggressive about it, and it makes you feel like it's cathartic.
Testosterone feels good.
Well, they're just not cowards.
It does. Adrenaline.
For so long, everybody walked around eggshells, especially in the comedy community, about what you can say, what you can't say. So even if I disagree with everything, the fact that they say it, you're like, Well, he's got some stones. Good for him on that. At least it's not cowardly.
Yeah, I would say they're a byproduct of feminism, meaning it's the side effect. You're too extreme with what you want women to be or do, and as a result, here comes Andrew Tate. Mm-hmm. Right, so it's a polar extreme.
Jeffrey C. asks, how do we respect the free speech of the popular conservatives like Candace, but at the same time get them to stop being a distraction from the America we are trying to create?
First, you stop looking at it.
A big part of it. You don't. The reality is, Democrats have realized this a long time ago. Regular people want to chase after the shiny object. And that's why they don't know what's going on. That's why they think Trump called Nazis fine people. And we are trying desperately to educate those people and capture their attention, which is difficult. If Candace wants to do a true crime drama, Blake Lively celebrity gossip, and Bridget McCone's a man or whatever, she's allowed to do it the same as Rosie O'Donnell is allowed to say whatever nonsense she wants. It's just fair to say that Candace is not a part of the coalition to make America better, to improve the country. I view her largely the same as like Call Her Daddy. And with all due respect to Call Her Daddy being a successful show that sold for $100 million or whatever, and Candace, she's bragging about how she's got the #1 podcast now in the country and all that. It's like, yeah, absolutely. This generalist stuff is going to always get a bigger swath of the audience share.
I found if it's the shiny object metaphor is great. You become an even shinier object that maybe her audience will also watch yours. But what you really want is Candace to watch your stuff and then to appreciate your stuff. And then that's how, you help your friends evolve. And then maybe her work will. I mean, I think Candace, personally, I find her to be like she's an actor that because politics was so crazy over the last 15 years, she just got into politics and uses her charisma. But she loves entertaining people. And Candace in a movie would be hilarious. So if you want to do something, Candy, Candace.
Yeah, I think being a conservative commentator today is difficult because you're dealing with an audience that isn't just going to listen to what you say. You got to explain yourself. However, when you go to the left, especially on YouTube, there's a podcast on YouTube that's been #1 or #2, depending on what day you look. It's all about Trump this and Trump that, and Trump's sick, and Trump just had a seizure, and their audience literally wants to believe that stuff. It's all clickbait.
Oh, bro. Listen, y'all just need to understand. You can give me any subject, and I can talk for 27 years on it. Right. If I wanted to be unscrupulous and make a bunch of money, I could make the best anti-Trump show through pure sophistry. When I can argue, I could argue anything. And there's a difference between debate and sophistry, logic and sophistry. So what we try to do on this show is I will tell you the truth based on what I know, and sometimes I'm wrong. What do the liberals do? They omit information intentionally to win an argument. Mm-hmm. Now, if I was gonna go the liberal route, oh man, I'd be making 10 times as much money. Democrats would be hiring me as a consultant, unscrupulous to the end. Unfortunately, I have scruples, and I won't do it. It's unfortunate, but I was having this conversation earlier with some people. The evil people have an advantage. They are willing to do things we are not willing to do. It's being good is life on hard mode.
And if you even attempt to play their games or do what these liberal podcasters do, you get called out every single time by your own audience.
Yeah.
Like, hey, don't clickbait me like that. Don't do that.
Oh, right, on the right?
Oh yeah. So we can't even get away with that, even if we wanted to. So we would literally have to be anti-Trump. I'm saying, based on your premise, if you want to make more money.
Unfortunately. All right, we got Hroldian. Is that how you say it? I got this in front of Seamus in Philly the other night, but I wanted to get in front of Tim. What are your thoughts on a federal law requiring proof of citizenship to buy or rent property? With 80% of all leaves currently being self-deportations, I feel like this would bump the rookie numbers up, reduce demand, increase supply, and also prevent immigration issues and national security issues. PRC buying land in the future. Not proof of citizenship, but legal status. So if you're a green card holder, tourist visas should not be allowed to rent property. Or actually, to be fair, they should not be allowed to extend to enter into long-term leases. So a tourist visa gives you, I think, 90 days. Then there's work visas and like a 2-year residency. There's like a special talent visas and stuff like this. Those are all lawful entrant visas for which you should be able to enter into rental agreements, and it should be 2-tiered. If you are an immigrant here and you fraudulently enter into a lease or purchase agreement, you should get criminally charged, deported, and barred from the country. If you are a landowner or and you sell or lease knowingly to an illegal entrant, then you should be criminally charged, commensurate with the scale. So if you rented an apartment to a legal immigrant, misdemeanor charge, fine. If you sell land of certain size, misdemeanor charge, land is forfeited, whatever, something like that could happen. And I'm sure the government would love to do that. But if you do like a very large deal, like a something, not like a bungalow, but maybe like a 5-story large $1 million house or whatever, then you're entering felony territory for fraud and money laundering kind of stuff. But I think we should totally do that.
And maybe if someone's illegally here and they commit another crime in U.S., that the person who's facilitating their stay could also be charged as an accomplice to the crime. That would disincentivize these people from renting to illegal immigrants.
Indeed. All right, my friends, that about does it for tonight. Smash the like button, of course. Share the show with everyone you know. Thank you for joining our Discord server. For everybody watching the IRL backstage, you guys rock. And if you didn't, you should, because we're trying this experiment. One of the challenges on Fridays is that it's a slow news day because everybody's checking out. And news typically does not break unless it's a weird story they're trying to bury. And so Fridays often end up going a bit philosophical. And so I said, let's just record them early to create an opportunity for an extended show at the Discord where it's a 3-hour show if you're in the backstage area. And then this allows us to work on other projects, take Fridays, relax. It's just, I think it's better for the community, and it's been working out pretty well. So if you want to support the work that we do and see us expand, join our Discord at timcast.com. Click join us. You can follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. DeVory, do you want to shout anything out?
Yeah, I'm very blessed. Thank you for having me here. I hope everybody that was listening continue to critically think for yourself. Yes, it sounds like a lot of doom and gloom, but you need to continue to stay focused on the right things. And you guys can follow me at Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube and Rumble, DeVory Darkins.
Right on.
Yeah, this was a great conversation. Thank you for having me, guys. It's been great hanging with you. And you can check me out, Gerard Michaels. I'm at the Mothership, Comedy Mothership, 3 times a month, and at Sadman Comedy Cafe in Boca Raton coming up. I got a weekend in Calgary at the Comedy Cave coming up, if you got any Canadian fans, and then a lot of other stuff. Check out Gerard vs. Evil. And if you need some brain rot after this heavy conversation, I just did an episode with Chuck Liddell where we watch street fights and people getting punched in the face. So
that's awesome.
You guys can go get some.
Well, you have a new nickname from coming on the show.
What's that?
Jackhammer.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Talk about the jackhammer.
Stock, baby.
Gerard Michaels in the house.
Yeah, I love that. Jackhammer's great.
Molecular jackhammer, dude.
I love it.
This thing's going to pulse a trillion times a second.
Okay.
I can go real deep on that. Hey, Eddie and Crossland, I echo your words, Tim. Fridays are fun. They're fun days. Anyway, today you play music, we talk about families. Maybe one day the kids will be coming in here and doing the show with us. Who knows?
Let me just stress that for those who didn't get to see the backstage pre-production portion of the show, it's a full hour. Ian and I were jamming, and Ian played The Freshman.
Oh, yeah, by the Verve
I
Pipe.
played some Radiohead.
It was wonderful.
Some originals. And
It was a
because
nice way to lose.
we're like pulling the cameras up, they're loading graphics, and you get to hang out for that at the Timcast Discord.
So come join us. See you later.
I am Phil That Remains on Twix. The band is All That Remains. We just had a big merch drop on our website. It's allthatremainsonline.com. We did a thing with puck hockey, so you can get a bunch of All That Remains jerseys and all kinds of cool stuff there. You can check out All That Remains music on Apple Music, Amazon Music, Pandora, Spotify, and Deezer. Don't forget, The Left Lane is for crime.
We will see you throughout the weekend with various clips. Then we're back on Monday. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see y'all then.